Secretary ICT and Digital Economy, Government of Kenya, our Chairman, Paul Kariuki, our CEO, KeNIC, Andrew Lewela, Dr. Catherine Adeya, members of KeNIC Board present, distinguished delegates joining us from Africa and the world, institutional hosts and partners, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and karibu to Kenya. My name is Gitau. I lead the marketing and communications effort at Kenya Network Information Center, the home of .ke. And it is my great honor and privilege to stand before you today. Allow me to begin with a very simple story. Some years ago, fiber infrastructure was being laid along East African coast, a young engineer asked, will this really change anything? And he posed and he said, he was asked and he said, you may not see it today, but one day nations will speak to the world without barriers. And as I look around this room today, Africa represented alongside more than 20 nations, I realize we are living inside that dream and that answer. Because progress is rarely achieved in isolation. It's a unity of purpose, a clarity of vision, and international collaboration that brings transformation into life. The digital future that we are building, defined by connectivity, trust, and innovation, depends on this principle. When governments, industry, and global technical community work together, vision becomes opportunity for our enterprises, and our institutions, and our people. The spirit of unity is why we are gathered here today. Not simply because we want to discuss domains or internet or infrastructure, but to shape a trusted and digital inclusive future. So barely 6 months after I joined KeNIC, which was about 3 years ago, I met a gentleman deeply passionate about domains and networking. He's one of the people though external to KeNIC, who is energized about Kenya and Africa taking its place in the global digital ecosystem. And seeing this gathering here today, I recognize the fruit of vision, the diligence, the collective effort between KeNIC and Mr. Helmuts Meskonis, our lead host for Domain Summit Africa. I'm a Christian, and scripture reminds us that vision is profitable for direction, and where there is unity, there is always a blessing. Now those words are reflected in this very moment, in the partnerships that we build and the future that we shape together. So welcome to Nairobi, Kenya, a city where innovation meets resilience, and while it is sunny most of the time, when it rains, as it has done today and last night, we say to our guests that they have brought us a blessing. So asanteni sana, and thank you for honoring this invitation to engage, collaborate, and connect here in Kenya. Let us welcome Helmuts Meskonis, our lead host, to the stage, who will introduce himself and also invite our CEO.
Thank you, Gitau.
Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for KeNIC investing in such a great man of the communication. My name is Helmuts. I'm a global citizen. I live in the UK and Latvia, and I have organized 4 domain summits in London, and this is our first Domain Summit Africa, and I have to say it would be absolutely impossible without friendship with Andrew, KeNIC, and of course of support of global companies like Team Internet, like FreeName, like SitePro. So thank you all for coming here. It is great to see registries and registrars. Usually when we go to our events, it is either about policy or some training. Domain summits are for all of us to get better business, to do it in a better way, be more efficient, and to meet registrars. So there are many registrars who want to meet you, CCTLDs. We also have representatives from America and from Europe, so you can learn from their experience. Thank you all, and thank you, Andrew, for this initiative of hosting us in Kenya. And yes, and next year we will also stay in Kenya, as Kenya will establish historical place. It will be done in Diani Beach. And thank you, and Team Internet has pledged their support for that. Thank you. And after that, we will start rotating all around Africa. It is to put together African CCTLDs. You are the kings in your domain, and we will get the registrars there, and everyone wants to work together. It is just a question of coming together, sitting down, sharing coffee, meal, and getting better business done. Thank you. And the next is the king of .ke zone, if I may, and a friend, Andrew, and his beautiful family.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. My team gave me 15 minutes. I'll probably use 10, but I want to share my 10-minute slot. I understand the protocols established by my good friend Gitau, but recognize our chief guest, Waziri. Karibu, CS, we are pleased to have you. Before I get into any remarks, I want to invite some special guests here. Where are our children? Are there someone in the room? Okay. I had a surprise for you, but it's backfiring. Let's see. Oh, there they come. So, to help me welcome everyone, I invited my wife and our 3 children. And they'll say a few things each, introduce themselves, and then I'll come back. Who do we start with? Somebody.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'd like to welcome you to the Domain Summit, the first Domain Summit in Africa. And I'd like to say Karibu to Kenya to all the delegates from international countries. During these 2 days, I encourage you to fully concentrate on all sessions and discussions, and make sure to make use of the lunch, networking lunches, and make sure to exchange information and ideas and build very good partnerships. Thank you.
Bonjour, je Carmen ce qu'il le présente. Je vous my bad, hold on, let me start again. 1 minute, I'm so sorry. Je m'appelle Avi et c'est grande opportunity. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Good morning, delegates. Welcome to Kenya. We are very happy to have you here for the Domain Summit conference. Kenya is growing fast in technology and innovation, and we are proud to share this journey with everyone. I encourage you to share ideas, learn from each other, and create great opportunities.
I want to thank our children for that awesome welcome. Thanks, folks. The next person I'd like to share the podium with, based on our multi-stakeholder approach to running .ke, is our friends from the ICT Authority. The ICT Authority is one of the members that sits on our board. We also have academia, represented by KeNIC. We have TESPOC, led by the chairman who's here. And we have the registrars, who are also represented. So on behalf of the public sector, I'd like to invite my good friend Thomas, on behalf of the CEO, to say a few remarks. Karibu, Thomas.
Chief Evangelist, you're setting me up after the quick act by the young ones. I might be struggling. His Excellency William Kabogo Gitau, GH, Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of ICT and the Digital Economy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Thomas Odhiambo, but I'm standing here on behalf of the CEO, ICT Authority, Mr. Jesse Kiveu Maruti, who couldn't make it. So if you allow me, I'll take a few minutes to just read a few thoughts he wanted to share with you this morning. It is a profound honor to welcome you to the inaugural Digital Domain Summit Africa 2026 here in Nairobi, a city that has a heartbeat for African innovation to discuss fundamental yet overlooked pillar of economy, the domain ecosystem. Today we make a bold statement. Kenya has moved beyond simple connectivity. We are now shaping digital-enabled economy where infrastructure is not just a support system, it is a very bedrock of our economic future. So we need to strategize, and in terms of the importance of domains. As a great strategist Sun Tzu in The Art of War says, strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is a noise before defeat. A domain name is more than a technical address, it is the entry point of a digital identity, whether for a small-scale entrepreneur in Nairobi or a multinational corporation. A strong national namespace like .ke strengthens trust and sovereignty in our online presence globally. Every engineer registered domain represents a brick in the foundation of our digital GDP. Under the guidance of the ministry and Waziri here, the framework of Vision 2030, the ICT Authority is committed to ensuring that our digital transformation is secure, inclusive, and resilient. Our support for KeNIC and in this summit is a testament to our belief that local digital assets are critical for national competitiveness and that our vision does not end at our borders. This summit serves as a vital technical precursor, selfishly I'll say, to the Connected Africa Summit, which we'll host in April this year. While we are here today to discuss the architecture of digital identity, in April we will welcome presidents, ICT ministers, and the African Union to harmonize these identities into a single digital market. As the theme suggests, we are strengthening Kenya's digital future through a trusted domain ecosystem, but no single institution can build this alone. To our registrars and the tech community, you are the engines of this growth. To our regional partners, shared standards across African CCTLDs will create the shared prosperity we seek. To the private sector, your innovation must continue to move faster than regulation, and with the government providing the stable foundation you need. In closing, Honorable Minister, Cabinet Secretary, as you take the stage, you see before you the architects of Africa digital front door. By anchoring our long-term vision in the .ke domain, we ensure that our digital future is not just shaky and temporary, but sustainable and rooted in trust. Our digital future will not be defined by technology alone, but by how effectively we collaborate to build opportunity and share growth within this ecosystem. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas, for sharing those remarks from the CEO of ICT Authority. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll spend a few seconds to thank certain people, then give very brief remarks on behalf of KeNIC. Without the great minds of Helmuts, without the strategic partners who have sponsored this event, without the .ke team led by Gitau to make this possible, we wouldn't be here. So I want to thank those two groups of people, our partners, the mind behind this, and the technical teams working behind the scenes to make this possible. A big hand for all of them. Now my quick messaging to Africa and Africans in the room. We have 17 countries represented in the room from Africa, CCTLDs, 34 participants. We are in the business of trust. As KeNIC, that's how we see ourselves, building the guardrails for our citizens to truly enjoy online identity. Now, what is trust? For us, trust is one, a meaningful internet. As you go back into your countries, you have to put your governments under pressure to deliver meaningful internet. Not only access, cost-effective connectivity, reliable, secure. Only on this infrastructure can you lay in value for citizens like domains. Number two, trust is about resilience infrastructure. They say you build it, they will come. But in our business, you have to build, ensure it stays built, and it stays secure and reliable. So resilience is part of trust. Number three, we believe as KeNIC, without a multi-stakeholder approach, the infrastructure you build might not deliver. So I'm delighted, Waziri, to say that I have a solid governance behind KeNIC's success so far. A board that is representative of the multi-stakeholder model, committees of the board that support our agenda, a regulator that also enables us, a government that is proactive, a civil society that holds that to account. This is all about a governance that supports growth for Africans. Number four, you need the registrar. What is your channel strategy? How do you engage citizens effectively? The registrars in the room that make .ke successful, we thank you. So in your respective countries, dear friends, you need a channel strategy that delivers. And finally, as part of trust, you need the people and policies. I have a great team at .ke, and my team is all over the place. I thank them. You have to hire right and have the policies to support that. To our partners in the room, we have ICANN, we have registrars, we have global hosting companies who hopefully will do business with all of us. The latest framework that was signed at the UN, and Kenya is a signatory, Waziri, remember, WISIS plus 20, a framework for the internet society for the next couple of years, guides all of us to have a human-centered approach. So partners, as you engage us, let us put the citizens at the heart of the conversation. It has to be human-centered. It has to be for an open, secure, resilient internet for all of us. To Kenyans in the room, as I wrap up, my fellow countrymen, thank you for helping us welcome Africa to Nairobi and the rest of the world to Nairobi. I'll repeat this, Waziri, and you can borrow it from me. I like saying it. If you have a t-shirt, very nice like mine, .ke, and in the front of your t-shirt, you have the map of Africa, and you touch your heart, you will be touching Kenya. Kenya is the digital heart of Africa. Fellow countrymen, we have to uphold our leadership as we challenge other countries across Africa. We are the digital heart of Africa. I know my Rwanda, Nigeria, South Africa friends, lucky, might be upset. Just a fact. We are the digital heart of Africa. Yes. Yes. And as our president also always say, the cradle of humankind was Africa. It was Kenya. So to our delegates all over the world, welcome back home. They say sometimes you have to leave people with a challenge. I want to leave us all with a challenge. Domain per capita, and my friend Bob will come in from ICANN. The global average is 45 domains for every 1,000 citizens. Africa's quota is 3 domains for every 1,000. This is where the opportunity lies. The digital divide has to accelerate Africa's place in global trade. Our global trade is 2 to 3% as Africa. We think in the digital realm, we can accelerate that to a bit more. So the challenge is on all of us to help us bridge our digital identities. I don't want to mention the countries in the room, but we have from the north, Algeria represented, Cape Verde with over 10 islands. We have our friends from the youngest nation in Africa, South Sudan, the Gambia. All those countries are in the room. And our big brothers, .za, South Africa. We all envy the number of domains they have. They will be in the next room over lunch. Let's have conversations with CCTLDs. We have SitePro, we have FreeName, IT.com, our big partners, ICANN, do not live here without making new friendship. Only through cooperations will we truly succeed. With those few remarks, it is now my singular pleasure to invite my board chair to give his remarks and then invite our chief guest to officially open Domain Summit Africa. I thank you most sincerely.
Thank you, Chief Evangelist. You'll agree with me that he's a real evangelist. He does it very well, and that's what he does for a living. He markets the .k in Kenya and globally. So mine is a very brief one. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Information and Communication Digital Economy, Honorable William Kabogo, we welcome you here as we welcome the delegates from Africa, from Kenya, and the rest of the world. So good morning and welcome to this Domain Summit Africa. It's the inaugural, and thank you, Helmut, for organizing this and for promising to bring the next one also. So we meet at a timely moment for Africa. Connectivity has expanded, ambition has risen, innovation has flourished, yet too much of Africans' online presence is actually outside Africa. This inaugural summit, co-hosted by the Domain Summit United Kingdom and KeNIC, brings together strategic partners who are African registries and international delegation, not to admire the digital economy, but to build it and to keep more value at home. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, your presence matters because digital economy leadership is ultimately about outcome, jobs, enterprise, productivity, inclusion, and trust. Kenya's momentum is visible. National reporting indicates that over 17,000 government services have been digitized through the e-citizen platform, outside expanding connectivity to public institutions and hospitals. When citizens can transact online, the question becomes simple. Can they trust what they see? Can they verify who is behind its domain? And that's where we are here to help answer that question. So KeNIC, our mandate is clear, as the Chief Evangelist has rightfully said, to secure and grow the .k domain. So this namespace as a trusted digital asset. Over the past 3 years, .k has grown by more than 20%, reaching approximately 120,000 registered domain. But as the Chief Evangelist have rightfully put, when we compare that to the population of Kenya, it is still a dot in the ocean. With the projection pointed to closing the $1 billion revenue mark in 2026, we have strengthened strategic integration through memorandum of understanding with institutions such as the Business Registration Service and the e-citizen, placing domain awareness closer to where citizens' business transact. The progress is encouraging, but is also a reminder of scale. The next phase is not simple, more internet, it's more trusted identity, more credible presence, more local value retention. A domain name is not merely a technical term, it's a business address. It's actually a trust signature. It's a digital front door of the modern economy. And when the address is anchored locally, secured, governed and supported locally, its business is a platform for resilience, sovereignty, and shared prosperity. Since we are in Nairobi, allow me to share a light observation. Here a phone is not merely a device. It's a wallet, an office, a classroom, a storefront, and it's also a Shama bank account. It's also a condolence book, and it's also a campaign mobilizing tool. When your battery runs low, someone will offer you a power bank. When your data runs out, someone will share a hotspot. When you have a good idea, someone will ask, where can I find it online? That is a city that understood digital life. Our shared responsibility is to ensure that when people go looking, they find what they can trust, they can verify identity, and starting with the right domain. So I want to give you a little bit of history of Kenya's story. When our enterprise adopt local domain, more commerce becomes feasible, searchable, and investable. When more institutions adopt local domain, public service and learning resources become easier to find and to verify and harder to impersonate. When local domain are supported by strong registrars, clear standards, and effective abuse mitigation, confident license, investment follow. And if we want growth, we must bring academia and students to the center of this agenda. In our planning, we noted a striking gap of over 2,000 learning institutions have no online presence. We have only 2,000 learning institutions with an online presence out of an exceeding over 100,000. Every school, every technical, every vocational education, every training institution, every university department, every research center, every student organization deserve a credible digital address, an address that protects reputation and make knowledge accessible. To the students here today, your work will travel further than you can do. Your innovation, your research, your portfolio, and your startups will be discovered first online. A trusted digital identity is your passport to opportunity. To our colleagues in the academia and digital economy, measure on credibility, research integrity, institutional reputation, and reliability knowledge domain are part of that integrity. Now, allow me to share a second light moment. Kenyan practically and directly, which is practical and relevant in Kenya. We have mastered the art of Tuma link. We can send a link for anything, but in the domain world, one long character of Tuma link may turn into a trauma trust. To the long place, that's why trust is not decoration, trust is design, governance, and discipline. We live in an age where information is abundant, yet confidence is scarce. The use of question is no longer, can I find it? The question is, can I trust it? Quickly, confidently, and safely. Domain sit at the heart of all this. It bridges the gap between availability, reliability, and especially as artificial intelligence accelerates both innovation and deception. This is where Kenya current momentum offers a positive signal for the continent. This year, I note that IX Africa Data Center is collaborating with Oracle to host another Oracle cloud infrastructure in Kenya, Nairobi in particular. The steps strengthen local hosting capability and signals readiness for advanced cloud and AI workloads. It will enforce simple point: as more value moves online, more of the infrastructure of trust must be built and governed locally. At the same time, Kenya continues to demonstrate how digital finance can expand participation. Only recently, Kenya began accessing stock trading directly through the mobile platform, bringing capital market closer to the ordinary citizen. That is not merely a new service, it's a digital inclusion moving in the value chain. What do this development demand from our community? They demand that the trust keep pace with adoption, stronger registrar and registry standard responsible for adopting faster collaboration on abuse response and practical public education that helps ordinary people recognize trusted sources. It is this spirit that Domain Summit Africa 26 has been designed as a business-focused gathering of registries, registrars, investors, infrastructure players, policy leaders, and innovators. structured for outcome through exhibition, matchmaking and targeted engagement alongside policy conversation that can spur uptake and protect users. So if you are here for business, leave Nairobi with a partnership that expand distribution, improve service and strengthen trust. And as we look forward, the future of this space, domain hosting, trust service and information processing will not be incremental, it will be exponential. Success will depend on three priorities, such as these are trust as visible infrastructure, resilient through local capability, and value retention through ownership of Africa digital asset anchored on trusted Africa domain. This is why KeNIC ambitions is clear 3 times growth in the medium term, not for headline sake, but because trusted digital identity unlock growth in enterprise, learning, research, and national competitiveness. What do you expect in the summit? To every delegate from Africa and out there, you belong here. Because Africa online future must be shaped by Africans. To academians and students, you belong here because the next decade of African digital economy will build as much in classroom and laboratories will build in boardrooms. In closing, Cabinet Secretary Honorable William Kabogo, thank you for your leadership and honoring the summit with your presence. We also thank the ICTA for gracing this occasion. And ladies and gentlemen, Nairobi is ready. Kenya is honored to host you. Let's use these 2 days to turn opportunity into partnership, partnership into adoption, adoption into trust, trust into inclusive digital growth for Kenya and Africa. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular duty and opportunity to invite the Cabinet Secretary in charge of ICT and Digital Economy, Honorable William Kabogo, to open this summit.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I almost confused the chair and the CEO. I'm happy to be here this morning for this very noble exercise. And as I sat there, I looked at that and I asked myself, today, 2026, why do I have a Kabogo at kabogo.com and not Kabogo at kabogo.ke? So this guy who makes my work easy, as we sat there, he has registered Kabogo.ke. So I'm up to speed. I'm only worried because every time I've gone for a tech summit or workshop, I see people dressed down. I see no ties. I see t-shirts. And you have to excuse me, I'm from the old school, but I'm a quick learner. So, but I have a different hairstyle. Allow me to very quickly, and let's appreciate the presence of the CEO, ICTA, ICT Authority. Jesse is just about, you want to Salimia? Just stand and say hello. Jesse is just about a week old in ICTA, so we can understand that he is in the process of taking over the good institution. He's from the industry. I just hired him. Yes, me, just the other day. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Nairobi, Kenya's capital and one of Africa's leading digital gateways. It is a privilege to stand before this distinguished gathering of domain ecosystem leaders, internet governance experts, regulators, and technology innovators drawn from across Africa and around the world. On behalf of the Government of Kenya, the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy, I extend our sincere appreciation to the Kenya Network Information Center, KeNIC, and Domain Summit United Kingdom for bringing this landmark convening to our great country. I also wish to acknowledge the Africa Country Code top-level domain registries represented here today. Allow me to mention a few, those that were given to me as I was preparing my notes. So if you're not in this list, it doesn't mean that you're not here. Nigeria, Ethiopia, Rwanda, South Africa, Ghana, Morocco, Egypt, South Sudan, and Tanzania. I further recognize the presence of colleagues and partners from Gabon, Algeria, Guinea, Mali, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Senegal, Congo, Sudan, Eswatini, the Gambia, Cape Verde, Botswana, Niger, Sierra Leone, and Guinea-Bissau, as well as the more than 250 international delegates who have traveled to join us here today. Your presence affirms the growing strategic importance of Africa's digital identity and infrastructure. This summit provides an opportunity to reflect on how Africa governs its digital spaces and how we strengthen ownership of our digital future. We are living in a period of rapid technology change. AI is reshaping industries. Digital commerce is crossing borders at scale, and cyber threats are becoming more sophisticated. In this environment, the question of digital sovereignty, how nations manage and secure their online presence, requires deliberate attention. Country code top-level domains sit at the center of that discussion. They are not technical abstractions. They are sovereign digital assets, are strategically important in today's economy as roads, seaports, and telecommunication infrastructure. The .ke domain is Kenya's digital address to the world. It underpins our electronic commerce platforms, digital public service, financial systems, startup ecosystems, and the emerging digital services of tomorrow. With more than 120,000 registered .ke domains and growing, the domain ecosystem has become an indispensable pillar of Kenya's digital economy. Kenya's digital progress has been built through deliberate collaboration between governments, the private sector, technical communities, and international partners. From the expansion of fiber connectivity to innovations in mobile financial services, these achievements were made possible because we work together rather than in isolation. As we move into the next phase of digital growth, that spirit of partnership must deepen. The opportunities ahead are significant, but so too are the challenges. As we look ahead, the question is not simply how we expand connectivity, but how we translate it into lasting economic value. Experience has shown that when policy direction, investment, and innovation move in alignment, digital growth accelerates. Confidence strengthens. Participation widens. The benefits of digital economy then extend beyond major urban centers to communities across the country. That is the broader objective that unites the work represented in this room today. I'd like to recognize the Kenya Network Information Center, KeNIC, to encourage them for its stewardship of the national namespace. Managing a country code top-level domain is a serious business. It sits at the intersection of cybersecurity, digital trust, consumer protection, and cross-border trade. In an era of phishing attacks, impersonation, and increasingly sophisticated digital fraud, The resilience of the domain name system is directly linked to national stability and investor confidence. It therefore deserves sustained strategic attention. The government of Kenya remains fully committed to strengthening the growth, security, and global competitiveness of our digital ecosystem. Under Vision 2030 and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, digital infrastructure is recognized as foundational to inclusive growth. Expanding broadband access, increasing digital participation among micro, small, and medium enterprises, strengthening cybersecurity frameworks, and accelerating digital public service are interconnected priorities. Domain governance forms part of that broader infrastructure framework. This summit provides an opportunity to deepen cooperation among African registries and digital institutions. As our economies become more interconnected, coordination on security standards, knowledge exchange, and institutional capacity building becomes increasingly important. Engagements in global internet governance process also benefits from coherent and practical African perspectives. Africa must move beyond being primarily a consumer of digital infrastructure and governance frameworks designed elsewhere. We have the capacity and the leadership to contribute meaningfully to shaping the global digital order. The .Africa domain and Continental digital transformation initiatives reflect that ambition. Kenya is proud to contribute to this effort, not in competition with our neighbors, but in partnership with them. And I want to say to Andrew, we are said to be leaders in this space in Africa, but we want the entire Africa to come up. I have been a very controversial spokesperson on the issue of Africa being left behind, and the reference of South-South, where we are put some nations on the south and others on the north. And I have said, I was in India last week, and I said there that people should stop pitying Africa. We need to be on the table. And someone said to me the other day, if you are not on the table discussing, you are in the menu. So Africa is no longer one of those places. We want to be put on equitable measures with the rest of the world. And I want to remind our brothers from the north that South-South has 7.2 billion people against 1.23 billion of north of the greater, the big north. So we are their market. They need to worry very much on how to bring their products, what it is they know how to do better than us, to come and use us as their market, and we shall come up and be equal people in the world. So let's push for Africa and South-South. Yani hata hiyo musiki. I said this in India and I almost got into trouble, but that is what it is. We were in a country that has, I think, 1.3 billion users of digital services of a country. That's India alone. So Africa, let's put our act together, pull our socks and be on the table. I encourage you to use this summit to build durable partnerships, share technical experience, and identify areas where collaboration can strengthen resilience and competitiveness. The work undertaken within the domain ecosystem may not always be visible to the public, but it carries strategic significance. It anchors trust in the digital ecosystem and strengthens enterprise credibility in global markets. A connected Kenya strengthens the region. A trusted digital identity strengthens enterprise confidence. And a coordinated Africa strengthens its voice in shaping the future of internet. I thank you for being here in Nairobi, And I wish you a productive and forward-looking deliberations. Thank you very much indeed. And when you have a couple of minutes to look around, please join us at the National Park, the only national park in the world that is in the city. So make sure you see something in our wildlife here at the Nairobi National Park. Thank you very much indeed. I'm told with those few remarks I declare the summit officially open, and I do so. Thank
you. My name is Bob Uchieng, and Helmuts has promoted me to head of ICANN, or one of the heads of ICANN. When I grow up, potentially that would happen. But before that happens, Waziri and dear delegates, I am here to speak to us about something that is happening in this industry. Very briefly. Looks like they got my slide. Just cancel that. Yeah, sure. So thank you. And give me the 2 next slides so that I summarize this very quickly. So we are talking about domain names, and ICANN is a very long name, but as a short form, it is ICANN. Now those 2 N's are intentional. The first is about names, the second is about numbers. So today we are talking about names, and Waziri, by now you've heard about very many types of names. So Andrew here likes calling himself an evangelist for .ke. At ICANN level, that is just one name, okay? And every country you can imagine that is autonomous and recognized by the UN has a top level name, okay? So KE, TZ, ZA, all those are names. And ICANN, we always say that all names were created equally. In other words, every name can do what every other name can do. And the challenge is for the stewards of these names to make their names stand out. So it is incumbent upon, on .ke, on .za, on .gh, to convince the global internet community users to use their names. But most importantly, that namespace is changing. So Waziri, just to give you a very high level picture. Today, we have, so there are 2 broad categories of names: country code names and what we call generic names. So you are Kabogo.com. .com is a generic name, but the one you've just gotten, the brand new one, Kabogo.ke, .ke is a country code name because it signifies a country, Kenya. So we have those 2 broad categories. So on the category of gTLDs or generics, today we have more than 1,300 names. So you can have you can have com, net, info. You can even have Africa. And North Africa is in the room. I know he's looking at me. You can even have Joburg. You can even have Durban. You can even have Paris or New York. Those are generics. We have around 1,300 of such names today. We also have almost 200 CCTLDs because that is the number of countries that we do have. So each and every country has got its own name. So in theory, we have at least 1,500 domain possibilities, which work exactly the same way. Remember, all names were created equally from where we sit. Okay? So whether I have .africa, .com, .ke, or .za, I should be able to send an email or have a website. Anything that a domain can do, every other name can do. But I'm here to introduce something else that is still happening again. So even with this 1,500 plus names, so why is this important? Some do that for monetization. I'm sure you pay for your domain name. Some do it to secure their brands. Some of them is for tourism. So the reasons really are diverse. And at ICANN, our responsibility is to facilitate that so that these names are introduced into the DNS system or to the digital economy in a very structured and organized way. So that's really a summary of the entire process. I am now happy to give just a very high level overview. If I get the next slide of the next one and the next one. Yeah, so this is just examples today of what I was speaking about. You have different types of names that already exist today. For example, you have what we call specialized application types, which could be brands, community, geographic names, internationalized domain names. Nationalized meaning that they're names that are written in other ways of writing apart from English. So in other words, if you can only write in Arabic, for example, then you equally have the right to have a domain name in that writing script. This is an effort to make the domain name space equally inclusive. So these names are also encouraged, actually very highly encouraged, to the point that every name has the chance to include in the application at least 4 variants, meaning 4 other ways of writing if you want to. Next slide. Next one. Yeah, so this will take a bit of time. If Waziri has time to listen to this, but I wanted to probably take the next 10 minutes to summarize how the entire process will work when this opens. Yeah. Great. So this is a very elaborate process, and most of the time the question is, why is it so complicated to apply for a domain name? And I think by the time we run through this at a very high level, probably you will be convinced why it should be that detailed. But the reason is to make sure that even as we introduce these new names, as we expand the namespace, the internet security, stability, and resiliency remains intact. So it is a built-in process to make sure that there is no disruption as we add more new domain names. And of course, allow me to recognize the presence of our regulator, our good friend, Kariuki. Thanks for joining us. I was just starting to take you through the process you will go through when you decide to go for .Mugoni. And it's this complicated. Yeah, so I wanted to highlight a few things here. So from the submission stage to the very last stage, which we call delegation. And in this room or in this industry, there's terminologies that we normally use. Registry operators, registrants, registrant, registrars. I can assure you, I have nothing to do with them. I also found them like that. So if they're a bit confusing, please always point out, and we will be happy to clarify anything. But two things I want you to notice in this slide. When an application gets to what we call delegation, which is the very last part, at ICANN today, there is no process to reverse that stage. And I'll give you an example. Today, when we open this application in April 30th, the names you can apply for, the names you can't apply for good reasons. For example, names, you can't apply for any 2 letters, okay, because it is potentially a country code name which is existing, or it could be a country code name in future. There are times when South Sudan did not exist as a country, isn't it? And it later came to be. And it eventually got a 2-letter association, .ss. So in this coming application round, any 2-letter combination is not allowed for that possibility that a new country could come up and they have the first right to the 2 letters. So you can't apply for any 2 letters. That's a rule. The same rule also indicates that you cannot apply for the 3-letter equivalent of countries. This is actually ISO codes, or ISO 3166, if you look that up. So if you look at your passport, if your passport is Kenyan, you'll see KEY. If it is Comoros, anyone from Comoros? No one. Comoros, the 3 is called Alpha 3. So, yeah, Alpha 3 is COM, okay? So, just like for Kenya, it's KEY. For Comoros, is COM, okay? But .com is a domain name, isn't it? But we are saying that you cannot apply for the 3-letter equivalent in the ISO 3166. It would have therefore meant that COM, which is for Comoros in the ISO standard, is not eligible for a domain name. That's why we are saying after delegation, there is no reverse process that exists today. So this rule came after COM was already a domain name. I think in law they say the rules do not apply something like that. Yeah, that one. Okay? So if it gets to delegation, that process is complete. That is why, if I get the next slide, the process to delegation is this comprehensive. And if there was any reason why we shouldn't get to delegation, then that must have arisen before delegation. I wish I had a roaming mic, because this is fixed. Okay. And now I can't. Yes. Okay. So this makes my life easy. So very quickly, and time check. I don't know how much time I have. Maybe 5 minutes. And maybe this is blocking someone. So we will move from pre-submission to delegation in record 5 minutes. In the real life, this will take you at least 15 months when you actually apply, okay? So in pre-submission, this is where you assemble your documentation, that you want to apply for. Remember, this is a very intensive process, very detailed, for very good reasons, okay? Then application, you actually do your, actual application in a system. We have a system called TLD Application Management System, or TAMS in short. We really like acronyms. So you put all your documentation together. Then you go to pre-evaluation, and here ICANN publishes the application on once received by the end of the application period. And I want to speak a little bit here on what we are calling reveal day. So remember I said after delegation there is no reverse. But we can apply for names that other people have got problems with. And an example would be if I am from, let me use China for the sake of an example. If I'm from China, I'm not planning to. If I'm from China and apply for .Nairobi, as an example, okay? I would imagine that someone from Nairobi would want to raise a question mark that we are not sure this application is from us, isn't it? I could be from Coca-Cola and I'm seeing an application for .Coke. .Coke could mean many things, isn't it? Anyone who is laughing knows the other meanings of Coke, but yeah, if I apply for .Coke, many people could claim ownership for .Coke, but what if the application is not associated with any of them? So on the day that the domain application process closes, around 2nd of August, after around 15 or so, around 3 months, we will publish all the names that have been applied for, all the names, to the global community, and you'll be able to see who has applied for what. And at that stage, we will invite public participation, or what we are calling community input, to these names. So I could say that this application by Tom is fantastic, I love it. Or the application by ICTA is never, or should never see the light of day, okay? Probably they have applied for .www. Who should have that name? Or they applied for .ICANN, okay? Or they've applied for .ICTA, by the way, and there's another ICTA in Nigeria, or in South Africa, or in the US, okay? So every stakeholder has a chance, whether you are commenting as government or as a brand owner or as an institution that has an issue with any of those names that have been applied for by anyone, can raise that objection or comment to ICANN. So this is a very important stage, okay? If you don't raise any objection to a name, then we'll start or proceed with our evaluations all the way. So we'll look at the string itself. The string is also the other name of the top level name or whatever you applied for. And if it is successful, we'll evaluate you as an organization if you have the capacity to run a domain name. And if you pass all that, you'll go to contracting and eventually delegation. I want to go back to one slide that I know is very important for our information. Maybe if I have 3 slides back, because I know there's a question of how much does name cost. Again back, this one, yes. What does it take for you to apply for a domain name? So who can apply? You have said any legal entity, so you can't apply as an individual. You will have to be a corporate entity, government, an institution that can contract. When is the application? We'll open it for 15 weeks. On 30th of April, it will run all the way to 2nd of August, thereabout. And how much will it cost you? The room is not looking very happy now. But some people are saying they plan to take 2 or 3 or 100. The cost for application will be 227. Is it too much? Only, that is very important, only. But we are saying there could be conditional evaluations. Conditional meaning that the name that you've applied for requires further work to be done. For example, if you apply for a city capital, a country capital name. So if you apply for .Nairobi, okay, then we will have to verify that you have the authority of the government of Kenya or whatever government whose capital you've applied for to apply for that name. That verification might actually mean someone coming to confirm that these letters are from the government of Kenya, allowing you to apply for that name. So that's an additional cost in that evaluation process. Essentially, this fee, and trust me, it is the community that expressly resolved that the program must pay for itself. And this fee is really going into those evaluation panels, which are done by independent panels. And you can apply actually to be a panelist. We've been running requests for proposals for, competent organizations to form panels that we'd want to use. So they'll be the ones that will be charging and getting paid from this fee. Okay? So with that, I think that's the highlights I wanted to make on the next round program. And I'm sure there are questions around. I could take a few that are specific to this. Okay. So probably someone with a roaming mic, or I can give you this. Sure. So we'll move from this side all the way to the end. And then we'll end.
Hi. Good afternoon. On your process, I was just trying to follow. Maybe I can get a little bit of information. I wanted to see the transparency on the chances of the one who apply, and then there are some complaining or challenges come from the community. Will they be given the fair chance to see exactly what happened? And also, there will be a chance for them to resubmit if after paying all those amount of money. And then there's this thing we say we should stop importing north to south, and south also should produce. But having that cost there is too expensive, and we are going exactly to create exactly what is happening. I was following ICANN before, and then I know that there are some people who are buying some of these domains, and then they come to sell in high price at a later stage. By having that amount of cost, do you think Africans, they will be able to afford? Because I was looking this as a chances for the Africa. I'm coming from Tanzania. I was thinking maybe we can have Serengeti, just to have a local for the Africa. But the purchasing power of all the tourist company belonging in Africa or Tanzania, they cannot have that muscles. So don't you think that they will be unfair for the African community? And then we'll be creating those, the one who dominate will continue to dominate the poor. And the majority of the poor will be African and will continue to do it to ourselves.
So those are 10 questions in one. I hope I will try to address them. And so I'm saying this because today is February 23rd, is it? Yeah. If I was speaking about this last year, I would have added something else to our comment on this cost. It is very true that this was a huge discussion within ICANN community, and you can rest assured that, the global, I don't know the politically correct term. Is it the global south? Is it the developing economies? If you understand what I'm coming from, was in the room when this was being discussed, and they raised fiercely this cost on one hand, okay? And out of that, part of the program incorporated what we are calling the applicant support program. which is meant to discount this fee to up to 85%. So I'm talking to us today in February of 2026. That support program period window of application ended in December last year. And we had 1 year for people to apply for support. So it therefore means that if you are intending to apply for new gTLD domain name in 2026, and you have financial challenges amongst other challenges, you could apply through that program for consideration to be supported applicant. And if you are qualified, you'll get up to 85% discount, which is around, it means you'll pay 15% of this. At the close of that program, we had only 22 applications from Africa. And the window was open for 1 full year. And we went around this country, including in Tanzania. I think I was there twice to talk about this very specifically. Probably that was not enough, but just to let you know that there was a separate program which we ran a very comprehensive campaign and communications awareness around for folks to consider so that they get this discounted. And unfortunately, by the close of that window, we only had 22 applications from Africa. So that was the effort that was made in that area. You had a question around what is your chance of recourse if someone applies for your name from a different place. And I just said that once the window is closed, that is around August, then we will publish all the names that have been applied for. So at that point, nothing has happened. We are just telling you that, hey, someone, to your example, has applied for .Serengeti from, where should I be from now? I'm still from China, and we've applied for .Serengeti. So you could actually choose to support that application, or you could raise your, anything you want to raise and support whatever your objection is or your support is. They will also have the chance to defend the application. At the end of the day, it's a fair adjudication process that will take place. But you will know all the names that have been applied for by everyone globally when the window closes. Okay? So that you get time for that, whether you're a government, whether you are organizations, whether you are brand owners, the process accommodates that period. That's why we are calling it the community input process, and it's very elaborate. The only group in that process that have indefinite timeline to comment and object or do anything are governments. They can come on day 2 years from today and say, we don't like this name, and we'll still go back and consider your application. The rest of the community groups have got timelines, which is exactly around 114 days from reveal day, from confirmation day. But governments will have indefinite timelines to always come back and reconsider and decide whether they like your names or not. Probably you can go to the middle for any questions. It has to be 1 minute or less.
Yes, thank you. I am Usman Jesani. I'm from the Gambia. I'm more interested about the redelegation process. Like for the Gambia, for example, our registry is managed outside by an individual in Holland, and we are trying to redelegate it.
Okay, so for redelegation, allow me to request that we have probably a deeper one-on-one. We have an ICANN table in that next room. I'm very happy to discuss this in detail. I can tell you that across Africa, we have at least 10 such cases. So happy to discuss that in detail with you. We had questions, I think, on this side. Yes.
Mine is still the issue of money. I wanted to ask if it's KeNIC, can you register .Africa? And if it's registered elsewhere, like in Nigeria or Ghana, how does it go? And is this 227,000 for one domain, and does it have subscription recurring every year? Yes.
So, you know, this money thing, I have people more qualified in this room to talk about them because they are already registry operators. But very quickly, .Africa is an existing domain name. In fact, can I ask .Africa to just stand and wave so that we know he exists in person and in flesh and blood? This is .Africa. Is an existing registry. So you cannot register it again. It already exists. Yeah. Anyway, so this will be for new names. It's a one-off fee, and it makes you eligible to apply for any other name that doesn't exist already. And it's not a country name, so you can't apply for .Kenya, for example. And it's a one-off, essentially. Can KeNIC register? Can KeNIC apply? If they would want to apply for another name, they're already operating .ke. If they want to apply for another name that doesn't exist today, they have the right to, because they fall along these institutions. They're either an NGO, governmental organization, so they can apply if they can raise these funds. Do you have a final question from the last group? Any other? Okay, so with that, I'm really hoping that this time round, the last time that this happened was 13 years ago in 2012. We had 1,930 applications globally, and out of those there were 17 from Africa. And out of those from Africa, I think we had 4 from South Africa that are live today. So Durban, Africa, Cape Town, and Joburg. So you could probably say that we had only applications from South Africa representing Africa. Hopefully, well, it was 185,000 then. It is 227 this time round. We are still hoping that there will be a different performance from Africa and the general developing economies in general. One last question and then we conclude. Yes. In less than a minute.
Hi, my name is Julius. I might be just slightly off, of course, from the domain registration. But of course, for you to become a domain registrar on the same, do you as ICANN also support that process? And maybe what's the process to become a registered, of course, to be selling on behalf of my brother .Africa and of course KeNIC and the likes?
Okay, I think I don't have the slide I wanted. So, to become a registrar, you see, these terminologies are confusing. So, I think we said we have a registry operator, then we have a registrar, then we have a registrant. We typically call them the 3R model. And I always find it difficult to explain the differences to folks. But the person that finally owns, and you don't own a domain name, literally you are the custodian as long as you are using it. So if I had bob.com or bob.ke for that matter, I am a registrant, okay? I'm the final user of that domain name. If I want to register that domain name, I go to a registrar, okay? So if you are to use the mobile world or the mobile money example, in this country we have something called M-Pesa. If I want to transact M-Pesa, I go to an M-Pesa agent. I don't go to Safaricom, who is the telecoms operator. So if you want to buy a domain name, you go to a registrar. Then the registrar gets the name from a registry operator who has the parent database of that particular domain name. In between, so registrant, registrar, there's a contract, probably your payment. Registrar and registry operator, there's a contract. And registry operator and ICANN, there's a contract. So it's a chain of custody via contracts in this domain name. And you can be ICANN accredited registrar. So we have a process for that, and I would invite you to, pass by our desk to get more details about that. So what you can imagine in terms of expertise that you need to put together your application. And this is why we normally say that applying for a generic top-level domain name is not a departmental thing. So IT department cannot sit in IT and come up with an application that is competent. Potentially, it might not be very competent because in the process, you might need financial documents, which we will require. And this probably is with finance. You might need a strategic plan on what you really want to do with that domain name. Is it to monetize? Is it to protect your brand? Is it to protect your policies? Why are you applying? Not everyone is applying to sell, okay? So you might need this group. You might need technical department because are you planning to run that particular registry yourself, or you would partner with registry service providers, and you need operations. So essentially, I'm trying to say that you actually need to carry the entire organization with you if you are to make not only a competent application, but also an application that is sustainable, that will be alive for many years after delegation. So please remember, it is not an individual or a one departmental responsibility. A successful application will need you to carry the entire organization. So you need to start socializing very early, get buy-in, including from your board, if you need that very early, because it is very, very comprehensive and for very good reasons. So with that, I believe, should you have further questions on details, we are here today and tomorrow. Happy to respond to you and to your questions as far as I can. Thank you very much, Helmuts.
Thank you very much. I think at this stage, I want to welcome our CEO, and then he'll invite our regulator. Karibu, Bwana CEO.
Thank you, Gitau. Because I said all my remarks earlier, and now the momentum is building around knowledge exchange and cooperation and partnerships, I wanted to formally recognize the presence of our regulator. KeNIC is regulated under what we call an application service provider license, and we have the Director General and CEO of Communications Authority, Bwana Mwanyota. Naomba usalimia wananchi for 2 minutes.
Oh. I thought good morning. I thought you wanted me to salimia wananchi like this. Thank you, sorry. I'm slightly late. Thank you very much for this event. I can see so many faces, others from outside Kenya. We welcome you, though you've come at a time when Nairobi is wet, but it's a nice place. We've witnessed what Bob of ICANN has shown you, very interesting things. I don't know if Bob.Africa, did he pay 227,000? He paid 185. Oh, so that's very bad. But I wish you a good discussion and deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. So I want to formally hand it over to Helmuts. Aba wanasi utasalimia watu pia. Okay, you are still settling in. Helmuts, now it's over to you. Very good vibe in the meeting rooms across. I'm feeling the energy. So looking forward to meeting most of you, getting technical, and have a fantastic time. Helmuts, now it's back to you.
Yeah, and one day I just got income to Serengeti Park, and it was forbidden to be at night, but you know, at night everything happens. So I damaged tires and wait for the ranger. And while I wait for the ranger, it was night. But at night it's forbidden to be at the park. So all the night I drove through Serengeti Park for free, you know, it's forbidden just because my car was damaged. When I come to the ranger meet me on the border, said, "Oh, you drive at night?" I said, "Yes," but my car was damaged. And they said, "We have hotel, you know how much costs hotel in Serengeti?" It's like, I don't know, it was a season or something, it was like $2,000 per night. Just regular hotel in Tanzania. Serengeti prices are huge, yeah. So I said, sorry guys, I have no money. So Sheriff allows me to sleep in his house, like ranger. So just about the growth hacking. Okay, so I'm traveler over the world, but now talking about technologies. In Africa, I visited these countries. This list of African countries I have visited. If you can click next slide. Also, while traveling, I record videos with local providers and also meet many hosting providers. I meet dozens of hosting providers in Kenya, also in Tanzania, Rwanda, everywhere. So while going, I just talk to people, ask them how they work, try to understand their problems. Of course, all my knowledge also getting old, but I just try to talk to all people, make communication, and get some experience. So do my own research. Go next. So today we'll talk like how African hosting companies can increase sales and how they are different from the world. Mostly, I do not see many Europeans here, but mostly it's very natural for people in developed countries to go to international conferences, let's say like international events. But in Africa, mostly people do not go to international events. In small ones, yes, but if you go to big events worldwide, people from Africa is rare. So I think that you're losing your opportunities just because big international events, it's a chance for you. And also, just, it's me in India maybe 10 years ago. You know, it was my first time coming in India 10 years ago. I come to the conference, small conference in India, 2,000 people. And somebody said, "Oh, Cypro. Can you imagine somebody recognized me in India?" It was like, and but I meet maybe 30, 40 people, wrote everybody, email to everybody. Nobody replies after the event. But after a few years, India is top 5 market for us. So can you imagine, like, just a few times, like, physically come to the country can make big change. For example, this me in Moscow. In Moscow, it was also a long story. We work with the biggest registrar, and biggest registrar works with Wix. And it's like we have few physical meetings. With CEO said, "Why you work with Wix? Work with us." And after a few years, they launched Cypro nearby Wix. And after a few months, Wix CEO, or I don't know, the responsible team, called to the biggest registrar in Russia, said, "Why are you selling Wix and Cypro together?" It was like, we're best one. Remove Cypro. And they compare KPIs. And they removed Wix. So it's the way how we removed Wix from Russia completely. So, and this is like also our partner in China. I also was in China maybe 6 times. Also Alibaba Cloud is our partner, but I just said like physical meetings, in the long term, something happens. No physical meetings, you just in small cage and you're able to develop. So my just advice for hosting companies here, to learn, to get partnerships, to teach to others, to exchange experience, go to international events like this. So, okay, next slide. So, one more thing is CEO. We can talk about CEO a lot. Now it's also popular AEO, like optimization for AI. And also there are lots of conferences about this, lots of wise people about this. But what I would like to say, what is the different African hosting companies and developed hosting companies? If you have talked to companies like Ionos, I don't know, Namecheap, Team Internet guys, I don't know, with many companies, you will see that they are very developed. And if you go to specific person, they will be very deeply go inside. If you go to average hosting company in Africa, talk about SEO, the question was, please share with me your secrets. So while Europeans, mostly, I just do on-site SEO. On-site SEO, it means like inside your website. Can you imagine how deep people are inside? They understand the logic of SEO. For example, do you have a review on your website? They do optimization. They said, why you do not put review on your website? I said, why I need this review? I said, Google trust a little bit more. Now they said, your review is bad because under your reviews there are no person. Because just review without person, Google thinks that is fake. Okay, so you just put review and put the person. They said, Google still thinks that is a fake. Put LinkedIn to this person who makes the review, because it will be a real person with real review. Go next. Why we do not put his website? Why, if it was article to the website? This person is business related to you or not? So this is the way how some people increase search engine and AI optimization on their website. They don't do something fake keywords. They think deeply. Think deeply. For example, off-site links. Do you know lots of people? Can you imagine big guys, company on the stock market, companies on the stock market, CEO is talking with us about link exchange, article exchange. Can you imagine? Companies are trading on the stock market, CEO interested about what article we will write about them on our website. Looks like super stupid, yeah? While Africa said like, please share some success story. Some companies go very deep. For example, geotargeting. Good puzzle for everybody here. Let's say company Team Internet. What Team Internet should do to be foundable in Google in Kenya? For example, what exact steps? I would like to open Google Coquet, open, I don't know, type shared hosting or maybe secondary domain market, and Team Internet should be fast. Who knows which exactly steps they need to do to be exactly in Kenya? Not in UK, not in Europe. And it's not easy. So you need to develop your brain. You need to understand, talk to people, how they do. Yes, some people buy links, some people have local representatives, some people buy local traffic, some people have local partners, some people like buy local newspapers, blah, 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 blah. But ever, it's Google noisy. Open ChatGPT and ask, who is the best secondary market domain provider in Kenya? Hope, who can help you? Something like, some magic happens, yeah? And this magic, I don't know how you, but in our case, AI produced for us 4 times bigger traffic in Q4 than in Q3. So like, for us, just traffic from search engines, not like very big, but it's increasing, 4 times increasing in Q4. Also, lots of people talking about automation. Can you imagine like a SEO automation? Like I have a website, I have 1,000 pages, and the robot analyzes my page, go to competitor's page and suggest your page has too few competitors. And lots of big companies, we didn't automate this, but doing like this. Or for example, strategy for unique content, and how many tools you use for SEO. Usually, or for AI, I met a guy in Dubai, they spend $0 for SEO links. They're top 5 in Google in the cloud hosting. They said, we're optimizing for AI. I say, how do you do it? They provide me 7 tools. We use these tools to understand what's happening. 7 tools, how to understand how the level, like, rank in AI, in ChatGPT, in DeepSeek. Can you imagine? So people very deep. While if you ask everybody here, they said, please share the success story. Just say what I need to do. I just said like, if you would like to be pro and go high, you need to be deep with all of this. Okay, go next. Also about numbers. Usually, average small hosting company, small and average hosting companies do not track users. So of course they have something. We have number of users, we have number of registrations, but a regular hosting company doesn't track activation. You don't ever understand the question. If you talk to let's say Gmeo, or you talk to, I don't know, GoDaddy, Selena, they fully understand what is mean activation. Here is like, what is mean activation? Customer registered, paid money, what you need from me, something like this. By the way, all this course is free on our website. You just can read growth hacking. And about graphs. We have few hundred graphs like this in our board, just to understand what's happening with users. Person tried to register, person registered, person activated, person choose free or premium, till the end, and hundreds of graphs like this, just to understand what's happening. And usually, if you go to small and medium company here, that I will go with Google Analytics. I know that we have 12,000 users a month. That's all. So while many companies just do you know this funnel is 30 years old. 30 years old. It means somebody 30 years ago going and measuring users like this. But still, here it's not much used. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Regarding A/B testing, just is the easiest way. 2 pages, just website builder, and website builder. Just here people click twice more. So if you do know Host Africa, I'm not lying. You can ask him. I met him and also joined them with Gmeo and asked Gmeo, and just I'm not lying. So we asked Gmeo representative, how many A/B tests you do a week? I don't remember how they said, like 10, 20 or 30. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But they do periodically tests every week. So big companies test, non-stopping. If you see Facebook, why Facebook is so good? Because robots write scenarios and do testings. So robots, it's just something crazy. And okay, go next. So obvious trends. So technically, if you talk to like Host Africa, if you talk to Michael or product owner or anybody from the head, or if you talk to any developed company, to Team Internet, they will talk about trends. What's happening, where AI is going. Like while if you talk to the small hosting company here, mostly they said, maybe is it good or not, while they fully involved in AI, how well AI changes the world, do changes like AI support, AI, I don't know, website builder, AI, I don't know, domain generator or whatever, just while they thinking about like what's the trend, how to be first, I would like be first there. Usually locals like, I will wait, something like this. It's very, very, very interesting, like leaders were involved very, very deep. Okay, so, and also long-term marketing. That is very important because usually what I see here, if you talk to partners like IT.com or FreeName or Host Africa, all of them, Team Internet, they not thinking about tomorrow. I don't know about today, but mostly they're thinking about 1, 3, 5, 10 years up front. I don't know exactly how many years, but usually they have long purposes. In Africa, mostly free model doesn't work. It doesn't generate money today, I'm not good. Yesterday I was in KeNIC office, said let's make a deal. We provide free, you provide third level domain for teaching institutions. The first question was, we do free, how we earn money? So the idea, while Americans here trying to get the market, Instagram getting the market, Google taking the market with Google Gmail, like Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, taking the WhatsApp still free for 99, blah, 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 percent of people, they taking the markets. Local still, it doesn't provide money today. I'm not interested. So my suggestion is like, you need to generate money today, of course, but think about long term. And also about long term, while you're small, while you're small, FFF, like when you're small, when you have 10, 20 customers, like it's like the rule, friends, family and fools to get customers. Then when you're small, you can place with price. I don't know, what is your strategy, and provide very nice value for the customers. But this is like, in long term, you need to understand where you are. And very, very important rule, never stop testing. So while you're small, sometimes I met hosting company owner, and he said, "Oh, I have no marketing skills, but we just order radio doesn't work, whereas newspapers not work, whereas other newspapers doesn't work, where the TV doesn't work, where billboards doesn't work, we order internet marketing, we try agency, we try marketing inside, we try Facebook, we try Instagram, we try YouTube, we try blah 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 blah, we try call points, we try It's just like, his company is like 6 months old. He tried maybe 30 methods how to market, and he said, I do not understand in marketing, but this is a natural way how average business would work. Test, and when you come to like average hosting company, he has asked, what will work for me? I just should provide them the secret. The idea, the secret is here. Never stop testing. So just you need to test new technologies, new ways. If you meet, for example, Seb from hosting.com, he's also a crazy guy. He just testing MVPs. We were launching. Can you imagine, like, we making integration, and he's on the call, and their team talking, oh, it takes 2 months, it takes 1 month, and Seb said, like, can we do something in one day, MVP? Can we do something in one day that it can work? So that we can do like this, it will be not ideal, but it works. Let's make MVP, look what's happening next. So just the idea is, believe me, all these company groups, long-term strategies, only long-term strategies, but of course they're interested also in fast results, just understand if it works or not. So just testing, and forget about this. Provide me the golden pillow, or I don't know, golden drug, best drug, drink one tablet and we'll be okay. Go next. Also, just because I represent website builder, so I need to mention about this. Just all companies like GoDaddy, hosting.com, I don't know, Ionos, Alibaba Cloud, Namecheap, maybe some brands of Team Internet, I do not recognize all of them, but you see they use website builder. So avoiding it's like so all big players take involved in this just because it generates money stream for them. Sometimes like AI, by the way, AI for many companies do not generate money for now. AI is, by the way, if you ever go to AI a little bit deeply, so OpenAI income last year 20 billions, like 18 billions, but responsibilities in more than 1 trillion. So technically AI is now things that is very perfect, nice, but it's very expensive, and we don't understand what is kind of costs. Okay, so, and also we have Magic AI. So where we're the best, we teach AI how to manage the product. And just this is the last slide. So just if you use AI, also visit our booth, test our product. Some luck, you can get some success. But what we did very nice, we teach AI how to use our product. Maybe you can also inspire and do it for your business as well. So next slide. Thank you. And if you have some questions, I'm ready to answer here or maybe later at the booth. How's better for you? Okay, thank you. So, who is next? Maybe I can talk maybe some funny story, or I can dance maybe. when it comes back on. So we are based in Switzerland, out of Zurich, and as I was discussing earlier, our main focus when we started was Web3, which is why, as you can see, we provided over 32,000 Web3 TLDs, and we've got over 800,000 Web3 domains registered under us, as well as having 1.2 million users. And as stated, we're also an ICANN accredited registrar, which happened in the past year or so. So the reason that we focused on Web3 in the first place was because we believed that domains should be more than just names used for websites. Because at the moment, that is all mostly Web2 names are used for. Whereas Web3 names, they're used for on-chain identity, they can be used for wallet addresses, they can be used for usernames, for social handles, they can be used for asset names. They're also very important for payment infrastructure, for crypto payments, where you're replacing these long hash addresses that are very confusing with easy, simple names like theo.sat, for example. That's an example of a recent partnership we did with Bitcoin.com, where we created the .sat TLD for Satoshi. So they're now selling names under the .sat TLD to their users, and now their users can send to each other with .sat. So theo.sat sends to ray.sat rather than OX, etc., etc. And this is where the opportunity comes for Web2. So, as I was explaining earlier, we believe Web3 is inevitable, especially recently. It used to be everyone was very skeptical of it, and people weren't sure about how it worked and so on. But nowadays, you see institutions investing more and more, creating ETFs for crypto. They're creating their own blockchains, their own payment solutions. And we believe the Web3 domains are going to be one of the biggest factors of this and how it works, as well as Web2 domains. And as I said earlier, this is especially important for somewhere like Africa, where it's one of the biggest continents using this technology at the moment. So, as I was explaining, at the moment, this is very confusing, and it's quite intimidating for someone who's new to Web3 and crypto payments. When you see an address like that, it makes you don't understand what's going on. However, what we provide to registries and registrars now is domain tokenization, where normal.com and other DNS domains can be put on chain. So I can now send using normal Web2 addresses, for example, richard.com, rather than something like that. And whilst we've been operating for 5 years now, we've ended up having 6 key services that we provide to all our users. I'll pass over to Ray now.
Yeah, thank you, Theo, for explaining a little bit about FreeName and also the context of the domains. So I'll be taking over and diving deeper into the different products that we have in FreeName. And I think this is going to be interesting how we can collaborate either between registrars, registries, and also individuals who invest in domains. So the first product we have is a custom branded TLD, which, like Theo mentioned, we partnered with Bitcoin.com to release .sat. Now I know what you're thinking. Is he going to sell like literally any TLD? And the answer is no. So we don't sell ICANN accredited TLDs. We make sure that Web3 and Web2 can live side by side together. So we don't sell any ICANN accredited TLDs. We also don't sell any TLDs like from other projects, so that there's no collision, since that's always the big issue with domain names. Okay, so basically over the years we've collaborated with different projects, and they have allowed us to build a large network. So automatically, if you have a domain on FreeName and it's used on the Web3, you can access different layers of protocols. It works on exchanges, wallets, applications, and we actually opened this opportunity as a reseller to resell Web3 domains for registrars.
So on the next slide. Right, we offer a reseller API, and basically we will be collaborating like 50-50 on this. This is interesting, especially if there are new projects coming in, or if they are looking to protect their intellectual property on the Web3 side. But I think what is more relevant to this summit is the next slide. It's a tokenization add-on. So for example, if somebody owns a .com, we want to work with registrars that sell an add-on with .com, and with that add-on, they will be able to use the .com as a wallet address on crypto. So that is automatically innovation for the registrar. It gives a new revenue stream, and it also gives the customer and the user additional utility for the domains. So even for CCTLDs like .ke, it could be that you own your own name, .ke, and you will be able to make use of the entire network that we've built over the years and basically prepare for the future of Web3 and of cryptocurrency. Of course, we also have our FreeName registrar, and we also want to partner with registries that are interested. So we've only launched about 2-3 months ago. One of the partners we did was with .art, and because we have such a large crypto community base, it's access to a different market. And what we like to do is be very creative with our marketing. We have a very creative marketing team. So with .art, we explore different mediums, like this is a magazine. Those two on the top are NFTs. So for the people that register .art, they would be able to get those NFTs as well. And the marketing team on FreeName are always open to collaborate with different TLDs and really bring the TLD to shine. The last product we have was Demora, and this is the intersection between Web 2 and Web 3. What this is basically the stock market of domains. So we know that domains are very valuable assets. Sometimes registrars have customers who own very expensive domains. Also registries own very expensive domains. And when we do want to sell them, it might be difficult to grab liquidity. So with our platform Demora, you can actually turn it into like a pizza, and you can cut up the slices, and people can buy specific slices instead of buying the whole domain. So one of the largest examples, you have chat.com, but most recently was AI.com, which sold for like $70 million. The owner of that previously bought it for $8 million. So he made almost like a 9 times return. And this is what we want to open up. Previously, you would have to have $9 million to invest in that. But with a platform like Demora, that $9 million can be split up, and maybe you want to buy in, let's say, $100 or $10, and this is the opportunity that it presents. So we're also very open to work with registrars, registries, on providing this solution, because I think domains will only get more valuable over time. That's why we're all here, and it will always be the #1 layer when it comes to online businesses and any presence online. So yeah, this is actually how the platform kind of looked like. So for this domain, as you can see, there's already owned by, in here it's 6 people, but it basically kind of works similar to like a market. So you can have buy orders, sell orders, and it makes the asset more liquid. Yeah, so these are the products that we've grown in FreeName. We're really looking forward to collaborating and just discovering new ways that we can bring the industry forward. And that's, I think, the best way to end this conversation. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions so far? None? I guess that's it. Well, anyway, guys, we appreciate you listening. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great rest of the event. Thank you.
afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here, and it is my absolute pleasure to provide you one of the most influential women in our industry globally, Sarah Rago. I keep telling to my friends it took me 2 years to reach Sarah. She is as professional as you can get, and also, as you know, in the UK there is only one market leader. It is 123 Rage that was acquired by GoDaddy, and Sarah was their director. Guess why it was successful? And now Team Internet, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As Helmuts mentioned, I am Sarah Rigo. I represent the Domains Identity and Software Division of Team Internet Group. Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you for the opportunity of being here in this amazing country. So Team Internet operates across every critical layer of the domain ecosystem, from registry infrastructure to wholesale distribution, retail registrars, and enterprise brand protection. Team Internet is publicly listed on the London Stock Exchange, which means we operate with full transparency, long-term capital stability, and institutional governance. But what really differentiates us is not size, it's our structure. Most players sit in one layer only. We operate in all four. And using an expression that I've heard here a lot, it is what it is. Next slide, please. Sorry, I've got here. So in terms of the value change and why next slide as well, please. Okay, and why structure matters. If we look at the domain ecosystem, it has 4 essential layers. We've got registry, the authoritative operator of a TLD. We've got wholesale distribution for our resellers, enabling anyone who wants to sell a domain. We've got retail, which has direct customer relationship. And we've got the brand protection, which gives governance and security. This vertical integration gives us infrastructure control. It gives us distribution at scale. It gives us direct market intelligence, enterprise-level governance experience. This means operational efficiency and commercial leverage. For governments, it means resilience, compliance, and strategic oversight. Let's start at the core of our registry operations. A registry is the authoritative source for a top-level domain. It is responsible for maintaining the domain databases, ensuring DNS uptime globally, operating within very strict policy frameworks. Anyone that knows ICANN knows how strict these are, providing secure backend services to registrars. We operate enterprise-grade DNS infrastructure with 24/7 operational security. We provide DNSSEC signing at scale, EPP systems, data escrow, compliance frameworks aligned with the very strict ICANN policy standards. We are also a DNS and DNSSEC RSP for the next application round. This positions us as a trusted technical partner for the new applicants and for existing operators who want and brands who want to have their own brand TLD or .brand. But beyond backend services, we also operate at national level. Correct? We own KeNIC, the operator of Slovakia's SK CCTLD, and this means we have direct CCTLD operational responsibility, alignment with government oversight, long-term policy engagement, national infrastructure accountability. We were recently awarded the full operation of the .co in partnership with MINTIC, the Ministry of Information and Communication Technologies of Colombia. And I want to be very clear on what this means. It's not just running the back end. We operate the whole .co registry. This includes full technical infrastructure, DNS operations and security, policy implementation and compliance, registrar relationships worldwide, the commercial strategy, international marketing and brand positioning. We expect to relaunch .co in CloudFest. and the long-term growth of the namespace. We have put ourselves a very ambitious target of growing .co by 10% year over year. We are not accountable for just the uptime, we are also accountable for the performance of the TLD. Not just for stability, also for expansion, not just for compliance, but for strategic development as well. Winning this mandate reflects international trust, competitive technical and operational strength, commercial capability at scale, credibility in a very highly rigorous public sector tender environment. It is the standard, and how it was won is the pride of the Ministry of Technologies for Colombia. In the UK, we are one of just 2 named suppliers under the government's Network Services Framework for critical domain services, and we have supported key UK domains through JISC, who operates the UK's high-speed research and education network. These are not just marketing statements, these are proof of operational trust. Next slide, please. Let's move to distribution. CentralNIC Reseller operates one of the largest wholesale domain platforms globally. We provide access to over 1,900 TLDs and SLDs, API-driven provisioning at scale, integrated SSL, hosting, email, and security solutions, real-time pricing and availability. We have over 30 million domains under management, and for those wanting to sell domains, this means one integration, global reach, faster onboarding of TLDs, competitive commercial leverage, operational reliability backed by enterprise infrastructure. But here's the strategic advantage. Because we operate registry infrastructure ourselves, we understand pricing dynamics, lifecycle management, and policy impact from the inside. That knowledge translates into smarter wholesale support for our partners. We don't just distribute domains, we understand the engine behind them. Next slide, please. Brand protection. Domains are not just digital addresses, they are digital real estate. Speak to any domainer. Phishing attacks are increasing, impersonation and abuse are more sophisticated, DNS level security is no longer optional. Through our brand shelter division, we provide global domain portfolio management, trademark aligned strategy, defensive registrations, protective and abuse monitoring, dispute resolution support. This is critical for brands, for governments, and for individuals. As Andrew mentioned in the start of this conference, public trust relies on secure namespace governance. For those selling domains, security services are no longer add-ons. They are revenue drivers and customer retention tools. Next slide, please. In terms of retail, the last vertical I'll mention, we also operate 11 global registrar brands. This means we have direct relationship with domain investors, SMEs, startups, developers, agencies. And this gives us real-time visibility into pricing sensitivity, demand patterns, emerging market trends. This intelligence feeds back into our registry and wholesale strategy. Very few infrastructure providers have this full market visibility. When you combine, next slide, please. When you combine ICANN compliant registry infrastructure, CCTLD ownership, government partnerships, wholesale global distribution, retail intelligence, enterprise governance, you create structural stability. You are not dependent on one revenue stream. We are not exposed to one market segment. We are structurally built for the next decade of domain growth. We are a long-term infrastructure partner. For governments, we are technically credible, procurement-proven, sovereign-aligned operators. The domain industry is entering a new phase, as we all know. Security expectations are higher, governance requirements are stricter, commercial competition is stronger. The question is no longer just who can register domains. It is who can operate, secure, distribute, and scale them responsibly. This is where our structure makes the difference. Thank you very much for your time.
One. Of course. So, the Lion of Africa, as I may say, of course, Africa unites it all, and South Africa are one of the leaders. Thank you, Lucky, and please welcome to the stage.
So I have a new title from Helmuts. Thank you for the new title, The Lion of Africa. You know, after climbing Kilimanjaro and etc., I guess probably it's appropriate. And wasalimia wote kwa bwana and the ladies and gentlemen, let me greet you. I come here after lunch, nothing wrong. I'll see you, bwana. I'm going to share with you our journey, very quickly, the Africa journey. And I was this morning quite excited when His Excellency, the Minister here, William Gitau, mentioned Africa as one of the strategic assets of the continent. And I was equally excited when I heard the evangelist also mention Africa as one of the strategic assets equally for Africa. And many other speakers. And in the house, you're asking for Africa, what it is. Africa is a name really that represents the aspirations of the continent. That's what it does. It represents our goals, our ideals. It doesn't compete with .ke. It doesn't compete with .ng. It doesn't compete with .ss. But it is there to complement all the 54 CCTLDs on the continent. No competition whatsoever. It complements. We can never compete against any of the CCTLDs on the continent, but we are there to complement the CCTLDs on the continent. And this must be clear, as I will talk in my last slide, I will talk to how we are complementing the names on the continent. Next slide, please. So, when we think of our journey as the Africa or Registry Africa, we started off known as ZA Central Registry. Even in ICANN, we're still registered as ZA Central Registry, trading as .Africa or Registry Africa. The most important thing that we're looking at here is the journey. This month for us, at least for me, is February. It's a very important month because on February 2017, after 3 years being in the courts in the US, on the 3rd of February, the courts in the US finally declared that Africa belongs to us. We were litigating. We were in the US over 3 years, and finally we prevailed. And the judges in the US in California, Judge Helmuts, I even remember his name, He pronounced that this name belongs to us. This is on the 3rd of February. And on the 11th of February of that very same month in 2017, we created the name .Africa on the 11th. And on the 15th of February, the very same month, 2017, that name was dedicated. So it has a lot to do. When I look at February and .Africa, it has a lot to do with it. But again, if I were just to take a detour and talk about February, 11th of February, 2017, it marked 27 years after Mandela was released from jail after he had spent 27 years. So when you take the 27 years that he has spent, 27 years release, and .Africa is created, it's 54. And what is 54? It's the countries on the continent. Wow. But nonetheless, next slide, please. What we want to do is, one of the journeys that we embark upon in this growth of .Africa. History is gone, is behind us. What is ahead of us is now how do we grow the domain name .Africa. This is what stays with us. And what we need to do is we need to emphasize on growth plans. We are working very closely with registrars. We don't see registrars as just another entity that exists. They are our channel partners. They are our go-to partners. They are the ones who carry this name for us. And they are very important in ensuring that we achieve on this thing. And in doing this thing, we need to be sharing a lot of insights with our registrars. We need to be ensuring that our registrars are engaged extensively. And these are some of the things that we are doing in engaging our registrars. Now, if you go into the next slide, you'll see that now in engaging our registrars, we believe that the engagement is not talking sales, but it is showing opportunities. It is showing challenges, is coming together and see how we move these challenges. And we're using numbers. We show them, we say, look, we have 56,000 names, we're under our administration. We have a renewal rate of 65%. But is this the ideal number? 65% is not enough. The global standard is 85% of your renewal. So we are below this global standard. And we talked to our registrars and said, this is the challenge that we have. And they're like, it's good that we are number 3 in the world, in terms of ranking on the geo, names that Bob was talking about earlier on. So one of the things now that we are embarking and really working very hard at is collecting data and making sense out of that data. Make that data tell us a good story. For us to sit here the whole day and look at data and throw you and spill out numbers and predict trends and come up with a lot of strategic actions from numbers. And this is where we are today. One of the drivers in our operations and our business is to collect data, analyze it, share this data with our dear clients, our registrars, to predict the future and to be able to work better. And this has improved over the last few months, few years. Tomorrow you'll be hearing about this thing that I'm talking about, the data. And this data is now been modified and improved by a team that is, we should be proud. When you say proudly South African, it must be also proudly African. And this data collation, this data analytics, a tool that has been developed and improved is and was developed in South Africa. You will hear more about it tomorrow. They will be presenting the thought process on how this evolved to come up where we are today, where proudly we can talk about data and which is the future of our business. We can skip that and go into the campaigns. This is another success story that we look at in shaping our business. But what we want to talk to is the next slide, which is the growth drivers to shape the industry. Now, this is almost throwing the gauntlet. This is the challenge that we have. How are we going to stay relevant in the next round? There is a next round that's coming. We got .Africa in 2012 and we signed the contract in 2014, went into litigation for the next 3 years. We only started operating in 2017. Bob did mention, he said there were 1,000 plus names, 1,200 names. The next round, which is coming in the next 2-3 years, is going to bring in more names into the fore. And what it means, there is going to be a bigger choice of names, a bigger pool of names to choose from. So we will not only have 54 names on the continent plus .Africa plus Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, but you will have .xyz plus. And this is a challenge that we have. What happens to .ss when 1,000 other names are brought into the fore? What happens to .ng when 1,000 other names come into? So we need now to reposition ourselves and look at what are going to be our key growth drivers. Now I'm standing and I'm not only looking at the key drivers for .Africa only. I'm now trying to address the key drivers for all of us, because whether you are .gh or .sz in Eswatini, you will be affected by the next round. And these are some of the things that I want us to be thinking about, and find a way of how to stay relevant. Now, the next slide is the IQ. Yes. This is another tool that we are using. Now, remember, we're looking at stats, we're looking at data, we're trying to understand where we are. Domain name abuse, which is one of those problematic things, others would call it a topical issue, has necessitated or has made the global community, or what you would call the good actors, begin to collaborate. And in collaboration, they have developed different tools. They are sharing data to deal with domain name abuse. We are religiously embarking on ensuring that there is as much, little or to no, zero domain name abuse in our system. But it's not possible. This is not an utopia. We need to collaborate. So we work with IQ abuse to ensure that we manage all names that are purporting to be not what they are or not what they should be, names that are stolen from others, and we make sure that they are ring-fenced, kept, and taken back to the rightful people, or they are deleted and managed in the system so that they do not endanger or make the whole ecosystem vulnerable. And it's important to function as a global citizens in collaboration. And then, next slide, let me see where you are, the global world connected. Next slide. When I said one of the things that we did when we were talking of .Africa as a project on the continent, this is one of the things that we are doing for the continent. We have what we call the foundation. Again, this foundation was something that was an instruction from the supporters of our application. They said you must create a foundation to assist on the following things: to assist the CCTLDs on the continent, to assist the registrars, to assist on a Pan-African program, and to assist on translating languages into technology. Now, the assistance of CCTLDs, already you can see that we are not competing with the CCTLDs. It is meant to support the CCTLDs. That support started in 2017. It is still continuing up until today. The foundation is functioning. Unfortunately, this afternoon, I don't see any of the foundation councillors. Barack Otieno, who is a local Mzalendo from Kenya, is the chairperson of the foundation. And what do you say, chairperson Mwanyota, yeah. And so we are in good hands, in Barack's hands. And on that note, these are the messages that I wanted to share with you on .Africa and the foundation and our journey that we've traveled. And I thank you. I think the next speaker should come on. Who is next? I will be the MC because I've been... Oh, hey, sorry, MC. The MC is here now.
Thank you. I think we're waiting to speak, to get a speech from host Africa.
Okay.
what a fantastic event, right? Really, that is put together, him and his team, and also everyone here. I mean, if it wasn't for the great interest shown by the industry and everyone here in the room today, I mean, this event won't be possible. And I believe that we all have the same journey or the same objective, is to further and better empower Africa and to grow this African giant of ours that we're all part of and live in. So before I get to my actual presentation, I just wanted to kind of do the very quick sales pitch and introduction pitch for Host Africa. I mean, like I mentioned, hosting company based in South Africa, founded in South Africa, with infrastructure across the continent, mainly web hosting service provider, dealing with the direct users of domains, web hosting and email products, but we also deliver infrastructure to businesses and industries within our countries that we operate in and that we have the infrastructure in. So everything from virtual servers, dedicated servers, virtual and machines that local businesses and authorities might need. And we're driving, obviously, data sovereignty is a big deal for us, keeping data locally, stored locally in local data centers, and that is what we call a focus on. But that aside, I mean, again, it is Domain Summit, and we're here to talk about domains. Just to share, kind of just adjusted my presentation a little bit, just to show where we have registry access and the registries that we can represent to the rest of the world. I mean, our list is there: Africa, South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, and coming soon we're working on a few other accreditations. And I think this event is ideal for us to network and rub shoulders and set up further registry access and registry connections for us. So I believe that Host Africa is a great partner to take also many African domains to the rest of the world, as we also have quite close dealings with many other European and international players. But I mean, if there's anybody else, I mean, I've already had some conversations with SS, Southern Sudan, also with Guinea. So if there are any others that are here today that I've missed or I'm missing, would love to have a little conversation to see how we can get together and make integration work. But my actual topic for today is a bit something different, and it's more from a hosting perspective, right? As a host or as a service provider, we deal largely, like I mentioned, with a direct end user in terms of web hosting, email, domains registration, and then also with service providers who in turn deals with their customers. So service providers that need to provide IT infrastructure to businesses and organizations. So, but this little chat is mainly about our user that we see in Africa, and specifically in the countries that we have got a strong presence in, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. So my question for today is Africa redefining digital identity? So we need to rethink a bit hosting domains and identity in a leapfrog economy. So what this is, my questions, I mean, from a hosting business, we continuously need to challenge ourselves. And as Lucky also mentioned, look at the data. What does the market tell us, right? I mean, what is happening in the market, right? So running a hosting business, these are the questions that do pop up. Is hosting dead in Africa, right? I mean, why is it growing so slow? Is email becoming irrelevant, right? I mean, looking at how Africa trades. Hands up, I mean, the question, is email irrelevant? Who still remembers the fax machine, right? I mean, it doesn't look like many of you ever engaged with the fax, but I mean, technology has become irrelevant. So we need to ask these questions, right? And understand why, or could it be the future? And then the question, will Africa skip domains entirely and live on platforms? I mean, Those are not questions that we want to hear today, but I mean, we need to ask them and we need to see. Okay? These are not theoretical questions, but they affect how we as hosts and industry players invest and build and position our industry. So maybe the problem isn't looking at the lack of the decline or why is it growing so slow. Maybe the problem is comparison, right? I mean, maybe we make the mistake of comparing ourselves to others. We keep measuring Africa against the path that the West took. But Africa doesn't follow the West path. It follows its own path, right? Africa is not behind. Africa is just different, right? So, looking at the numbers, right? Not a small continent, right? 5 billion internet users, 600 million mobile subscribers, 75% mobile traffic. I mean, impressive numbers, right? Youngest population in the world, right? Not a small market, right? This is not a lagging ecosystem. This is a different design environment from the West, right? So, how did the West go? Right? Most developed markets evolved like this: desktop, broadband, website, SaaS. Africa went feature phones, smartphones, super apps, and commerce from phone, mobile apps, and mobile first, right? Mobile only in many instances. And that leap changes everything, right? It changes how businesses form, how businesses trade, how businesses deal with each other, how identity develops, right? How individual identities shape, and how digital presence begins. Right? It begins on mobile. So the SaaS, software, is absorbing complexity for the end user. So globally, SaaS is massive, 300 billion. Hosting is only 100 billion. And in Africa, Africa shares about 5% of SaaS, or $5 billion versus the 300 billion of the world. So this is a clear indicator actually that hosting isn't dying, because SaaS needs to live somewhere, right? But what is happening, traditional hosting is becoming invisible for the end user, right? So the end user is not really engaging with the host, but they're engaging with software, right? And what that means is that invisible infrastructure either becomes commoditized or it becomes strategic for us as hosting providers. So we can take a quick look at what the African SME or the startup looks like, right? I mean, if we think about it, how small businesses start or how they develop, I mean, digital businesses in Africa doesn't mean, or starting a digital business doesn't mean that you need a website, right? I mean, the typical toolkit of a SME in Africa, many of the countries that we operate in, is that starts with the Instagram page, start with this thing, WhatsApp. Who does not have WhatsApp on their phone? Okay, well, there's the proof, right? So none of these guys, and mobile money, the other challenge in Africa, local payment gateways, local payment systems. So the guy starts with those three things, and not necessarily a domain or a website. So digital business in Africa does not start with a website, like I said. So that is a structural shift, right? Thinking for us, thinking in the direction of, but how do we grow this market? How do we grow domains? So many global. So why do platforms or new entrants into the market struggle? Right, global platforms or global market entrants. So many of them assume, okay, let's go to Africa, but they don't know low card penetration, right? Low credit card penetration, payment gateway challenges, USD, FX, right? FX fluctuations, right? Disparity in currencies, volatility, right? So they all assume that these things are standard, but in Africa it's not. Africa deals with many different challenges. Mobile money dominates, currencies fluctuate, and informal trade is massive. In an informal trade market, many businesses start informal before they go formal, right? So most adoption, we believe, fails because it's not because Africa resists technology, right? It's because the products that were designed were not designed for these realities. And that is where us as hosting providers and developers need to step in and make the change. So, like I said, localization is it's not just language for the entrance of guys entering into the market. So it's not a language, it's economic design. So this is where local hosting and domain players win, right? Guys that are on the ground, guys with offices in the countries, representing those countries, right? So players like us, we win with enabling local currency billing, being able to accept mobile money payments in the different currencies, right? We are managing the local payment rails. We offer local support, offer market education, big one, right? We enable SMEs, right? Get involved with SMEs, and we gather market insights and understand it. Global platforms scale, right? But local players contextualize, okay? So, allow me to share with you some of our findings in the countries that we operate, right? Nigeria's scale, right? Huge population, massive digital activity, heavy Instagram and WhatsApp commerce, but super high informality and FX pressures, and high price sensitivity. It's an incredibly challenging market, right? Price sensitivity drives sales in a big way for us, but those are the challenges that we need to deal with, and as a local provider, you deal with it, right? Digital activity does not necessarily also automatically equal domain adoption, right? If you look at Nigeria, and if you look at Kenya is like the poster child to show what happens when payment rails are strong, right? M-Pesa dominates, mobile-first economy, right? But even here, domain penetration is still very early, right? So this tells us that digital sophistication does not automatically mean domain growth. And then looking at South Africa, which is the poster child probably for domains at the moment, but stronger core penetration, more formal SMEs, higher CCTLD awareness. Here we can see that formalization increases, right? Domain adoption follows, right? And just a pattern, right? What we could see from our data, right? Having a look, we could see domains follow formalization, they follow payment maturity, and they follow economic structure. So the big question on our hosting lips, right, is will domain growth in Africa be driven by formalization? Okay, we're busy looking at that. Or will it be leapfrog because of new technologies, SaaS, or platform identity? Remember what I said? Infrastructure is getting invisible to the user. SaaS is what the user sees and experiences. So that's the question. So current landscape, if you look at Africa's domain opportunity, globally, according to very some data, 360 million plus domains. Africa has perhaps 2.5 million CCTLDs, right? African CCTLDs still have extremely low per capita penetration. But that is not definitely not saturation, that is runway, right? But the question remains, will Africa grow into domains? With formalization and access to technology, or skip them entirely by platforms like WhatsApp, Instagram, those tools. If identity becomes at username or a marketplace profile or a WhatsApp catalog, then CCTLD could stall, right? CCTLD growth could stall. Unless domains are repositioned, right, as trust anchors for users and businesses, national identity markers, e-commerce credibility tools, and government and fintech infrastructure layers. So, if Africa builds only on rented platforms, like I mentioned, Instagrams, marketplaces, and WhatsApps, CCTLD will stall. But platforms are distribution, right? And that is what we need to tap into. The domains are ownership, right? Platforms are rented land, domains are owned land. So that brings me to our next topic. So closely related to domains. And that is the question that we have around email. Also, in many African countries, or in many African markets, commerce happens in chat, right? Some users don't even touch mail, right? But email still powers identity, banking verification in certain countries, also trade in the formal sector, again. Messaging, again, is interface, the source, right? Email is infrastructure, what lies underneath. So, an infrastructure that becomes invisible needs to be defended, right? I mean, big questions around the defense of email and infrastructure. So, looking at domain attachment rates, I mean, that is our challenge, and that is how we measure our true success on domain registrations. And we can see and this is just our data, it's not industry data, it's data within the East Africa business. We see our attachment rates in the different countries, right? And with attachment rates, it's like who adds either an email address or a website and an email or just a website. And you can see countries like Nigeria with massive non-attachment rates on their domain registrations. So what needs to happen is we need to drive domains as trust signals or the signal of different signals and reaffirm that it's necessary or to position domains correctly in the industry so that the users and the user experience understands the use case for domains in their business and in their online journey. So Africa's digital model, what we figured is Africa is building a different internet or a different way of doing business, right? From what we see is Africa is building a different presence by means of messaging first, right? Mobile first, informal before formal, and adoption driven by payment rails. So the actual industry question for us as hosting providers, and from that I also have for the fellow hosters in the room, and also maybe registries and other partners, is are we building for the desktop era that Africa skipped, or are we designing for the next 100 million digital businesses, right? I mean, allow me to reiterate and conclude. The next 100 million African digital businesses will not look like Silicon Valley's past. They will be mobile first, chat-driven, payment rail-shaped, right? Informal before formal, and when they formalize, they will need trust. And that is where domains matter, that's where infrastructure matters, and that's where we matter. If we understand this model, then we win. Thank you. I don't know if anyone has any questions. We're welcome to shoot. Or, yeah, I've got a...
There's a microphone
Thank you for that insightful presentation. I'm Frederick. I'm a registrar with KeNIC and also I'm in cybersecurity. So allow me to ask a cyber-related question out of experience from association side and also as a registrar. So as a leading hosting company, especially within the African continent and on behalf of other registrars, we have actually an ongoing case involving a hosting provider. So someone registers, there's an existing business, so someone registers, let's say, a .com domain, but they're not the owner of the brand. And because hosting that domain, let's say with VPS, is quite easy. So they register and then they host in the VPS. So there's no KYC, know your customer, that is done to verify the ownership of that specific brand. And they host damaging content in that VPS, which runs, let's say, for 3 to 4 months without the owner knowing. And when they come to know of it, there's already reputational damage. And they engage forensic experts, make some contact with the hosting company, and the hosting company starts to invoke data privacy. Of course, they take down the content, but the company that has suffered reputational damage, they're interested to understand who is this person who bought a VPS and they hosted content that was damaging to their business. So the hosting provider goes ahead to invoke data privacy. So where is the responsibility of the hosting provider now that they agreed to host the content without verifying the ownership of the brand? But when it comes to disclosure of information, the payment details, so that the owner of the organization can maybe have litigation or something, they invoke the data privacy. And you have to, case study of Kenya, you have to go to DCI. They now maybe start asking for money and all that. And, you know, because they are not the initial investigators in this case, it becomes so much complicated that the customer gives up. So these are some of the realities that we are experiencing day in and day out. And when you ask for the hosting provider to disclose, again, they ask, they say that you are data protection compliant and you cannot share without proper police letters, abstracts, and all that. Maybe you can mention, because that is an issue. Yes, we are driving, as registrars, we are driving growth for domains. But one case somehow discourages potential customers because they feel helpless. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Fred, right? I think it's an excellent question, right? And I think there are experts in this aspect here today that could possibly and potentially explain it better than what I can, right, from my position. But from a host adhering to data privacy, and Kenya, and I'm going to use the South African model because it's very similar to what Kenya follows, right? It is your obligation as a business entity or a trading entity also to keep customer data and sensitive customer data and not share it with public, right? That is what we all sign up for, right? Data Protection Act. So when a situation like this occurs, right? I mean, from a host perspective, we understand that it could be painful to get the necessary help or the necessary subpoena to deliver the details to the affected party. But there are ways to do it, right? And it's also from the host's responsibility to kind of help facilitate this process, to say, okay, right, go to a local police station, open a case, get the subpoena from the police station, bring us the subpoena, and we release the details, right? I mean, that's the kind of structure and the procedure that we follow in South Africa, and we've got kind of a finely oiled system that works a bit that might be a bit more refined than what Kenya is. I'm not 100% familiar with, and Wycliffe could potentially answer better, but the structures need to be built, right? I mean, and us as registrars should work together and also to build the structure, and maybe also involve the registry and say, what is best industry practice? Let's go back and say, this is the industry practice that we should follow, all agree on it, and release the data with the necessary precautions and the necessary boxes ticked, right? Because we are also under the obligation to protect data of our customers, right? I mean, that's what we sign up for, that's our job, right? But also if the guys are naughty, we need to help to share that data. So it is a bit of a catch-22, right?
That's exactly the same process we follow in Europe and in the US. So only with a document from the police or whatever are we allowed, especially because of GDPR and privacy reasons, are we allowed to share the data and the name of whoever, or even take it down.
So we are governed by legislation, all of us, and that's what we sign up for. So legislation, it's the expectation of us. But even though, like I said, it always puts in that case, in that instance, it puts the bad light on the registrar. But I think that's why I really think it's a fantastic question. I think it's a fantastic thing to unpack. And if we work together, right? I mean, as KeNIC registrars, right, to engage KeNIC and say, okay, help us formalize a system or a process. I mean, can we simplify it to go to a police station and get a subpoena, or can KeNIC maybe help us also facilitate this, right? Maybe they've got better strings to pull. I mean, they deal with the higher powers, right, at government. So maybe there's a better way that we can handle something like that. But yeah, good question. I mean, I think it's fantastic.
Next question.
I think I need to add something, because this is something that we experience regularly at West Africa. I'm in Kenya, so something you see every other day. You simply need to go to the police or DCI. Getting court order is very fast. You can get it within a day, and then we'll furnish all the information that you require immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last question goes to KeNIC.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Actually, I want to go back to your presentation.
Yeah.
And say, so my name is Davis Wedaka. I sit on the board of KeNIC. I'm very happy for this. First is, yes, Africa is building on platforms. Africa's e-commerce, m-commerce is built on platforms. But I think, and we were having some discussions with some registrars earlier, the biggest gap is, does the African entrepreneur understand this concept of owning versus renting? Because the domain name system has been around for decades at least, and it's a multi-stakeholder system. Not one person has an overarching voice, not one player can dominate the rest. So we all own this, and therefore it is more solid ground to build entire economies for 1.4, almost 2 billion people who live on the continent and actually across the world. The challenge with building on platforms is that you are on somebody else's business model. If you ever lose your phone's data, if your phone gets corrupted and you have all your customer data on WhatsApp, and that file gets corrupted and you hadn't backed it up, that's gone. And there is no system that can help you, get this back unless you have some huge data recovery system processes. But on email, because of the kind of structure that we've built, and this is what African businesses need to understand, is that not only do you participate in the ownership of your own personal domain or your own business domain, but you have a voice in the running of that entire ecosystem through all this KeNIC, through ICANN, through internet governance, IGF circles, and even your own governments and your own, if KeNIC can't do it for you, you have a say at the registry, at the regulator level at CA. You can't talk about it, public participation that we're talking about here. So I think for us, our challenge is repositioning domains, proper emails, as not just the true identity for our businesses, but as something that we actually own, and as business owners, we understand assets, and we need to understand that this kind of system is literally an asset for our businesses. I think that's the gap that we must, that's our challenge in this industry.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, right? I mean, you nailed it, right? I mean, absolutely. I mean, glad we got that I could get one response like that. But I completely agree with you, right? I mean, platforms, rented land, right? I mean, WhatsApp, if the US switch off WhatsApp tomorrow, if Meta starts billing you $1 tomorrow, I mean, where's your data? Or, and are they going to have this volume of subscribers? What happens to your data? What happens if there's a breach? What happens if Meta falls over? Right? And that's why infrastructure, I mean, email is actually infrastructure, right? You own it. I mean, it's owned land, right? Not rented land. And I agree with you. The question that we need to ask businesses and local businesses and entrepreneurs is, like, do you really own your data? I mean, or does it belong to someone else? Do you really own everything, all your data infrastructure, or is it sitting somewhere else? So, completely agree with you, and I think that's the conversations that we want to drive, right? And with guys like KeNIC, right, and other registries, I mean, let's unpack it. Let's find best ways, best practice to make it happen. We're all game for it. We're in the same race. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Raj. And the next will be a surprise from Gitau. And the last presentation just reminded me how I was promoting. Guys, can you put that in the WhatsApp group? I was promoting Domain Summit Asia. And we did send, you might know, I own half of the world's domain name forums, like DN Forum, Making Domains, lots of them. And we did send out around 40,000 emails inviting domain investors joining a WeChat group. And I did lose my personal WeChat account and the group and everything, yes. Thank you. And Gitau, next.
Thank you very much. Let's do something fun. It's a bit dull in here. How many of you have not checked your phone today? So you've all checked your phone today. How many of you have checked a website that ends in .ke? Hey, we're doing poorly. .ke, which website? Which website? The KeNIC one. Okay. Any other? Any other? I'm almost about to exempt you, but yeah, try. Okay, good stuff. So, .go.ke, okay, all right, good stuff. And ICTA, yeah, because they are well represented here. So I'm going to give you an exercise. You know about whenever you have events like this, we usually come with like really nice merchandise, and we want to give you some. So I want the first 3 people, scan this code, join the group, come and prove it to me. I'll give you really cool merchandise right now. Go. Everybody has their phone, so do it. Scan the code. So there's 2 things. Oh, we already have a winner. Okay, come. Number 1.
Number 2, number 3. We have number 2, number 3. We already have.
Number 2.
Yes. Number 2, number 3. Yes.
I need 3 only. You have to show me. You have to show me. Okay, good stuff. Show me your chair. Good. And Fred.
Yes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So we have 3 winners. Second exercise. I want to imagine or believe that you all follow our social media profiles. So I'll pick one, the most common one, which is Facebook. And I want to reward the first 3 people who follow Facebook right now. So go on to Facebook, follow. I want to see a recent, a current one, like you are now following Facebook. You are now following Facebook. You have it. KeNIC Facebook, show me.
3. Yes.
Good stuff, all right. So
we have 3 as well. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. Thank you very much. Doreen will actually sort you guys out in a bit, so at least I've got your names and everything. Thank you very much. So what KeNIC does is we are posting fresh content every single day across our social platforms, and that's how we keep the engagement running and live to our current and potential domain registrars, registrants, and everybody within the ecosystem. So we try to keep a very fresh page across all the different platforms, and that's how we are keeping the engagement alive. I think next on stage we'll be listening to Grace from Rwanda. Let's give her a clap as she comes. Welcome, Grace.
Of RICTA. RICTA is the registry of Rwanda. So we are a not-for-profit organization. So on top of managing the CCTLD, we manage a critical infrastructure of the country that is called an exchange point. So our exchange point is called RINEX, but on top of that, we do a lot of activities around the community. So basically, we are the voice of the internet community in Rwanda. So now, today, I'm here just to share about the story of Rwanda. So from the humble beginning where we started to where we are. So I believe most of you guys know where Rwanda is, but I did it purposely because we have some foreigners who have never been to Rwanda or Africa. So I come from Rwanda. Our country is a country known as 1,000 of hills. It's located in East Africa with 14 million of population. So we used to be known for the tragedy that happened back in 1994, which is the genocide against the Tutsi. But now things have changed. We are now recognized for our remarkable, let me repeat this, remarkable recovery and progress because of unity, reconciliation, and the spirit of working together. This made the foundation for the building the nation that we have today. So today Rwanda stands as a symbol of resilience, innovation, and national pride. So we speak 3 languages on top of the French. We have our local language, which is Kinyarwanda. So I'm here just to share about how RW got repatriated back to Rwanda, the progress, how we started, and where we are today. So the story of Rwanda is more of a resilience and pride. So the domain name, which is .rw, is a story of struggle, determination, and national pride. So what started as an online country code managed far away from Rwanda has grown into a trusted digital identity fully managed locally as of today. Next. So when the .rw was introduced or created back in the 90s, 96, it was managed outside of Rwanda by an operator called NIC Congo Interpoint. So the manager was called Frederic Gregoire. At that time, I remember I was still in senior school. So the internet was really not yet in Africa. It was in its early stages. So what happened in that time, and Rwanda was trying to recover from the genocide against the Tutsi. So Frederic Gregoire did not have only .rw, but he had other countries. So those countries that he had was .bi for Burundi, .zr at that time for Zaire, which became .cd for Democratic Republic of Congo. So just imagine, as a country, for you to get your local resources, you have to write to someone who is based in Switzerland. So this was really challenging to us as Rwandan. Next slide. So what we did, we said, let's put our hands together and see how we can repatriate or redelegate our resources back to Rwanda. So the first attempt, of course, there was a lot of frustration around. I remember back in 2005, I was working for an operator, an ISP. So we used to manage .rw, but not fully. We had the second level domains, but when someone was to register .rw, we had to write to Frederic Gregoire. So that process would take days, weeks, and months. So for people in Rwanda, as long as you provide your ID or your passport, he used to give the service for free. But for foreigners like Netflix, Google, and the rest, he will charge a fee. And at that time, it was around 225 euros a year. But just imagine the process of getting your local resources after 1 week or after 1 month. So frustration became too much in the country. So we said, what can we do to repatriate or to redelegate our services back to Rwanda? So the government supported us a lot. So the first attempt or the first request was made back in 2002. Unfortunately, it did not succeed. So maybe a recommendation that I can give, I have met several African countries who come to study from our experience how we repatriated. So it's good to engage the government, but don't put them ahead. So put ahead the community, then it will be much smoother. So the negotiation with ICANN and Frederic Gregoire did not succeed at the first attempt. Then we had to go back and review what was going on. And actually, ICANN at that time recommended us that for a country to manage the CCTLD, it should not be owned by government. It should be owned by an entity, a separate entity, a private entity. So then, when we realized that, back around 2011, I joined Richter myself in 2012, and I joined Richter, at that time I was an engineer. So my background is an ICT professional. So the regulator requested that we create a separate entity to do the repatriation for .rw. So that's when, back in 2012, that's when Richter was created as a not-for-profit organization, private, fully private. Then in September 2012, that's when we write again to ICANN. And within, just imagine, between 2000 and 2011, so all the attempts that we tried were failing. So Frederic Gregoire wanted money. And we understand this because if it was you were managing a service for more than 2 decades, it was a source of revenue for him. And suddenly a country that comes to say, bring back all the resources back to Rwanda. So then in 2012, our request was approved by ICANN. So the management of .rw became fully in country. So we repatriated all the resources and all the data were hosted locally. So now, what's after the repatriation? So we started building the foundation back home. So the infrastructure is fully managed locally. So what we did, we started choosing a platform for domain registration. So we had a choice of Fred versus Coca. So we went for Coca because it was more easier to manage and mostly used by CCTLDs, and at that time it was open source. So we are still using Coca as of today. And then we started working on the pricing models. Remember the story I told you when Gregoire was managing RW, he used to charge 225 euros per domain for foreigners. So locally what we did, we tried to create a price that will look for locals so that they don't go for our competitors, our .com and the rest. Though it's not bad, but you wanted to push for RW domains locally. So we started the journey with $30 and today we are at $10. But for foreigners, from 225 euros, we are at 150, but our plan is not to stay there. So we are continuing pushing, going down until we harmonize our prices both at the African continent and as well for foreigners. Then later on, we had time to create a network of registrars. We use a 3R model, registry, registrar, registrant. So we created a pool of registrars locally first, and as of today, we have close to 32 registrars. Then internationally, we have 15. So the infrastructure was there, in-house, everything hosted home with registrars, pricing very affordable to everyone locally. Then we went out. So what we had to do is to do some campaign, more initiative just to grow our numbers. And one of the things that we focused on for the previous year are strategic partnership. So what we usually do, we partner with technology communities, we partner with private sector, professional association to grow our numbers. So of recent, something probably that I can talk about is more of an integration that we did last year. So last year we managed to integrate RW domains with Irembo. Irembo is a platform that enables Rwandans to access their services. It can be your ID, it can be your passport. So now we have availability of RW on that platform, so which gives more visibility for Rwandans to access all the services in one platform. So it was a major achievement that is pushing our domains to grow locally. So what is ahead, just as I conclude? So the domain is open, our infrastructure is ready, and the market is growing, so you are welcome to be part of it. Thank you. I don't know if there's any question. Yes, please.
Thank you, Grace, as always, helping push CCTLD in Africa. In the morning, you had the minister challenge us. In tech, broadly, the ceiling for ladies has been sort of been there, dominated by men. In the internet governance space, you and I working, you are a shining example of what is possible. What is holding us back as CCTLDs? Could we do more from where you sit to make this business of the internet more inclusive? Even when I look around, we're still dominated by gentlemen like us. So how do we have more of your folk in the room? And then Lucky Wycliffe can help us also write software for that. Thank you.
So thank you so much, my brother. That's a hard one. So probably I can talk about some of the things that we do locally. As I said, we are the voice of the internet community. So what we do locally, we try to encourage first the girls to pursue STEM, to go for science education. So we partner with universities and we have talks around different ICT topics. And if you look at our internet governance that takes every year, we have representation of more than 40%. We are yet to be 50, but at least we are close to 50. So now, to me, what I think, and maybe a question to all of us, I've been engaging my fellow women. When I talk to them, I ask them, what's going on? Why women are not involved in this sector? And most of the time, you'll find that the reason is just the fear. They will see the sector dominated by men, and they will fear to venture in it. This is an example of myself. I completed my studies, I think, in 2003. Then I joined an operator, an internet service provider. And in that department, I was the only female. More than 100 people, I was the only female. So it was really challenging. We work at night, maintenance at 2 a.m., so no weekends, no life, troubleshooting, digging. I'm an engineer, I spoke about it. So I used to promote other women, and I will ask the management to hire more women in the department. But they will come, but when they after getting married, they'll leave. They'll prefer soft life. After 5, I'm gone, I'm going out. I'm going to the family. So, to me, let's continue to be the advocate. We speak about it. The more we speak about it, for me, I always encourage them. But you don't have many. Maybe, let me hear from other men in the room. What can we do? Because I'm doing the same on my side, but help me as well. What can we do together? Lucky, you have been in the sector for more than 30 years. Can you help us? To me, what I have seen, it's more fear.
I'm still lucky. Look, I think this challenge, Grace, is thrown not only at me here, and it's thrown to all of us. What do we do at registry.africa? We do have, we have only one man. Where is he? Yeah, Brent. But the rest of the team, it's females in the main, you know. And at ZAERC, we also support, we make sure that there's more women in our fold. And then we have adopted schools that we sponsor, you know, when different programs. Actually, the beautiful thing that I would mention is that in when ICANN was in Durban, what year was this, Louis? 2013. Yes, 2013. We won a prize from ICANN for being the best registry on the continent. And that prize money, we took it and gave it to a school. And we were sponsoring it on connectivity for internet. And we've been doing that since then, since 2013 up until today. We are still contributing for connectivity of the school, and it's mainly predominantly it's a girls' school. So these are some of the things that we need to be doing. It's starting from the bottom at the school up to where they are. You know, we can't start at the top. We need to start where they are, the roots. You know, where they're still being formed, where they're still finding their direction. And the last thing is adopting a girl child. Many years ago, we had a company in South Africa, CCTLDs, that had adopted a girl child. And we were working with them on that program of adopting a girl child. I think we need to do that. Adopt a girl child, bring them in. This thing is not, it shouldn't be mystical that we cannot have women. And I mean, today, I know I'm proud to have you standing there. But Inga, stand up and tell them what you do. You know, this is one of the ladies.
So, I mean, I'm an example of how DNS and Registry Africa do encourage women. I'm here with my other co-founder, Mark, and they actually helped us establish our business, and we'll be talking to you tomorrow about how we've done a lot of the analytics, but they empowered us and they empowered me to actually be in the space and to not start too low. And there's still challenges, even in our team, where we really try to hire. There are also fewer women who in the pool, because like you said, it has to start at the bottom. It can't start. You can't start by just saying, oh, we're just going to hire women now when there's no women to hire. So it does need to start at the bottom, but by actually just increasing the visibility, by giving us opportunities like this, that makes other women see that I can be there, and I don't have to be scared, and I don't have to have the soft life. I can actually be here at the summit. And yeah, I think that's really powerful.
Thank you, Inga. And thank you, Lucky. I'm proud to say that Grace not only is a leader in our space, she recently was nominated to sit in the CCNSO Council for Africa. Congratulations, my sister.
Thank you all. Thank you, Grace. And Grace, can we share that even though next year Domain Summit will be in Diani Beach? Yes, we will just announce the date soon. So Domain Summit, the main idea, and because of Andrew, who told me, Helmut, we need to rotate. So next year Domain Summit will be still in Kenya, but in Diani Beach. Thank you, Team Intent, for the support. And then year after that, it will be in Rwanda. Absolutely. And if you are great registrars of .lv, ask for free stands. That is now your job, to sell yourself to Grace. And after that, if you are CCTLDs, please come to me or come to Andrew, whomever you trust, and let us get it organized in your country as well. And now, the last for today. There is a huge young community that is growing, and we all admire. American domain industry representatives say it is way too good to be true. Once we go, you can check it yourselves. If you go to DN Journal, if you go to any domain name related website, you will see that in the first top 10 countries, usually top 5, there is Morocco. And Morocco is there because of Mr. Kahel, Ayub, my friend, who teaches his community. Ayub, if I may, just a little bit say, Ayub came from a very, very poor background. He, if I may, Ayub, yes? And when he was sent to school, to a small town, he was sleeping in that school. And now he and his friend, Kasmi, yes, are two who have created an amazingly huge domain name investor community, and Ayub is known as Teacher Kahel and Arab Domain Academy.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Okay, where is the slide? Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you guys. It's my first time here in Kenya. And it will not be the last time because I like Kenya and I will be coming back more and more. So, my speech today is about domains in demand. What the Arab world is registering. Of course, a lot of you don't know me. So first, let's talk about myself. I will not take it so long. So who I am, I'm Ayub Kahel. Next. I'm from Morocco. I'm the founder of Arab Domain Academy and Arab Domain Community, the largest and the biggest domain community in the entire world, with more than 130,000 members in the community and more than 53,000 subscribers in our channel. So, since I will be talking about the Arab world, let's
first understand the Arab words. The Arab words are the Middle East, the North Africa, and also Arab people that are living worldwide. There is a lot of residents, Arab residents living even here in Kenya and in all other African countries. So firstly, let's talk about Middle East and Egypt. Why I mention Egypt? We know that Egypt is in Africa, but we talk about Middle East. Go before. Okay. Let's talk about Middle East and Egypt. So for Middle East and Egypt, the language of business is English. For North Africa, the business language is English, and also many, come back, don't go fast, just slow. Okay, the business language is English, the main language is Arabic, and also there is not many other residents, like most of the guys in Egypt are Egyptian. There is not a lot of residents, but in the Middle East you will find a lot of residents from all over the world. Now let's move on to North Africa. North Africa, the language, the official language is Arabic. The second language is French, and here I'm talking about Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Mauritania. The second language is French, and the business language is French. And there is less now Arab residents, which means that in this country we'll find more locals than residents. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, now let's talk about the Arab world who register domains. So firstly, there is companies. Of course, companies are the first one who register domains for their business, so they can create websites, sell their own products, and so on. The second thing are digital entrepreneurs, and here I'm talking about a lot of guys that are self-made person that work from home, like me, and also another guys that also register domains. And there is also domain investors, which is the community that I built from guys that are like buying domains, selling domain, and so on. I will go more deeper into this topic so you can understand. So firstly, let's talk about companies. What are the domains that are the companies buying in the, don't go fast. What are the companies buying? So firstly, there is family companies. A lot of family companies exist in the Arab world that are using their own domains, and they are building a business only for their company. The second thing is the semi-government companies, which means that there is a company was owned by a government, but they give a private thing for some other countries or other companies so they can manage it to each other. And the third one is the small and the medium companies, which is that the companies that are starting out, and of SaaS companies, which is like a lot of companies from the Middle East and North Africa are now thinking with the SaaS mindset, which is building company, then growing up, then sell this company. Now let's talk about the next one, which is the digital entrepreneurs. In digital entrepreneurs, there is many type of them. There is firstly bloggers, the guys who create blogs to make money from Google AdSense, from any kind of content creation related to blogging. The second thing are affiliate marketers that are also doing the same thing, selling services like affiliates and stuff like that. And there is also e-commerce experts, which exist a lot, especially in North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and so on. And also there is SaaS, which is the guys that are making also SaaS projects, so they can grow it up and then sell these projects. Next. So now let's talk about domain investors. When we talk about domain investors, so mainly we are like buying domain and sell it. But the thing is, in my community, is I explained how we can start with a tiny budget. You don't need to have a lot of money to start. You can start just only by $50 or $100. Then you buy a lot of domains, then you do outbound and sell a lot of domains. So firstly, most of them buy domains via wholesale. It means buy a domain, sell it to another investor, so this investor can get it and then wait until the end user come to buy it. The second one is domain outbounders, which is the thing that I just mentioned, buying domains, doing outbound and sell it. And also there is the portfolio builders, which is the main domain things that exist for years, which is buying domains, holding until the buyer and until the end user come to buy it. Of course, the last one need some money. A lot of guys, I know that they don't have enough money to start with, so they start with the first and the second one, which is goes also for registrar, that they can get a lot of domains under management. So my audience gets good offers to buy more domains. So now let's talk about what the companies are registering. So mainly they are registering the CCTLDs, like for example .ma, .ea, .qa for Qatar, Morocco and UAE. But also in each country, people use their own CCTLD firstly at the first place, because to be shown like we are inside this company, inside this country. After that, they look for .com. Mainly after they want to upgrade their business or make their business more globally, they look for .com so they can buy it. And also, a lot of them buying Arabic words or local language words. What I mean by this, if I talk in a Moroccan dialect, it's a bit different than talking Egyptian language. If I talk with Egyptian language, it's a bit different than talking with Saudi Arabian Arabic. There is some local language. This is why I mentioned this. And also, some of them are using English words in their brand name, in their company names, 1 word, 2 word, or also some made up of English word, especially in Middle East and Egypt. Next. And for French, they are also used in North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Mauritania. Some companies are using French language, French 2 keyword, French made up word, just to name themselves, giving a name to their company. Now let's go to the last one, which is a combo of some companies creating new words, like made up words, which is a mix of completed language of Arabic, English, and French. Next. Now let's talk about digital entrepreneurs, what they are registering. The first one, they are registering the .com. The .com is always wanted for anyone, like for companies, for digital entrepreneurs, and also for domain investor. The second thing is the category type of domain, like for example, if the guy is working on for e-commerce, they buy .shop, .store. Next, if someone wants to create a SaaS, they always look for acronyms, which are characters that are easy to remember, easy to spell, just 4, 5, 6 characters, easy to understand. And also, next. Now let's talk about domain investor. Domain investor mostly they like .com, okay? And also, when there is an opportunity for a new TLD, they also buy it, like for example, for now, .ai is a hot TLD, .gg, which was people registering for gaming, and .ae because it's also a good TLD that's starting to growing up and making his part of the business. They also registering .ae. Now, let's talk about who trusts. Arab world. This is the type of domain that they trust, but the type of domain that they buy, that they don't trust anyone. So first, you need to respect the religion. If you try to bring domains or anything against the religion of the Arab world, they might not trust you. Also, you need to respect their culture. If a domain or a company that doesn't respect the culture, they might not trust you, and you might not get clients from this Arab world. Also, you need to respect the tradition. If you don't respect the tradition, you will not get clients. It's normal. And finally, you need to have a win-win vision with the Arab world. It means if you are a company and you want to get your piece of cake in the Arab world, you just need to be like having a win-win situation, win-win mindset with the Arab world, so anyone can win. So we will not only take profits and the Arab world will not take profits. So I hope that everything is clear. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
So thank you for a good presentation. My question, it's not a question as such, it's a recommendation.
Okay.
What can you recommend to CCTLDs in Africa? From the last slide, you spoke about religion, you spoke about culture, tradition, etc. What can you recommend to CCTLDs in Africa who are still struggling to make our own CCTLD being used by locals? Okay. Majority of them still prefer .com and the rest. So what can you tell us?
Okay, for me, I always do leaks because I'm also someone who do outbound. I'm also trying to sell my own domains, and I don't sell only .coms. I sell also at other extensions. When I'm trying to convince, like for example, an end user that already have a website, even if he has a .com, when I'm sending like an email to tell him about buying a CCTLD, I talk about different things. Firstly, I talk about local issue, so they can get like local exposure in his own country. Also, the feeling of like being with the local, like for example, if you tell someone buy RW, and then when you do advertising and promoting that you own also a RW extension, the people of Rwanda, they will think this person is someone with us. It's not a foreigner, for example, that they are just trying to do advertising. He's one of us. So this is also one of the things that you can also do. And also you can talk about brand protection. Like someone, when they will buy like RW, they will also talk about, this is my brand, I want to protect it from scammers, from spammers, from anyone. And one of the most things that you can also do is when you talk about the CCTLD of any CCTLD of Africa, always talk about this is our CCTLD. It means that we need to protect it, we need to make it global. If a company like becoming more successful and mention that we have our own CCTLD, we are coming from Rwanda, from Kenya, from anywhere, it gives a feeling of proudness that you are coming from this country and conquering all over the world. So I hope it's clear. Okay. Any other question? All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
That seems it. Thank you, Ash. Thank you all. And if you could put up that WhatsApp group of ours, the WhatsApp group that I sent you, the square. So this has concluded our first day. If I may have two gentlemen who made it possible on this stage, Gitau and Andrew, please, to conclude the first day. This is a historical moment, I feel, and I have never felt that good organizing our WhatsApp group, please, as well. Well, this is KeNIC. WhatsApp group, absolutely most welcome to join. And as we organize domain summits, that is Domain Summit Europe, Domain Summit Asia, and Domain Summit Africa, this is the group where you will find the direct contacts of most decision makers within our community. Please join there, make an introduction, and there is just one thing, please don't use it for spamming, sharing YouTube links and stuff like that. Otherwise, it is for you to be more efficient to find those people that maybe you have missed directly. Thank you. And Andrew, thank you for the first day. Any conclusions?
Yes, Helmuts, it's been a heavy day. You've been patient. The energy has been high. I know a few people, of course, have left a bit early. Tomorrow we expect new faces based on some of the feedback they've gotten. It's a fantastic start for us. We will not have wished for anything else for the first Domain Summit Africa. My encouragement when I walk around the exhibition, Helmuts, is I see people trying to learn from each other. I encourage you to reach out. Even when you're not so sure, find the courage. Over lunch, some young lady reached out to me and was very confident, and I learned something new. Do not come all the way to Nairobi and leave without having maximum cards in your pocket. Yeah? The partners for your success are in the room. It's the guy on your left and the guy on your right. Please. This is the value that Helmuts and the team has brought, and I want to thank you again for your patience. Let's come in nice and early tomorrow, and let's continue with the conversation. I'm very pleased, and I want to thank Gitau and his team behind the scenes for making this possible.
Gitau? Thank you, Helmuts. Good. Another one, fun exercise. Everybody take out your phone. Hold your phone up. Hold your phone up. This is super exciting. Hold your phone up. Some people are not holding their phone. You don't know what you're about to miss. So we've come to the end of the day, and you've all been told next year where are we going to be? And that's South Coast, right? So white sandy beaches, nice hotels. Of course, after the summit, you can get into your beachwear and go play some beach volleyball. Yeah? So with your phone, I want you to take a selfie today, post it on Facebook, get your friends to like and share, tag KeNIC. The person with the most likes wins a fully paid trip to Diani. So everybody has their phone, take a selfie, tag KeNIC, put it on Facebook. Tomorrow I'll be looking at how many people have liked your picture. So your audience determines whether you get a fully paid trip to Diani in 2027.
And for all the registries, African registries, please contact me, and especially Felicitas, please start booking your free, totally complimentary free exhibitor tables for you to promote your CCTLD. We will do all together the best job possible to get registrars who want to work with you. Please come to us, say that your CCTLD wants a free exhibitor table, absolutely no questions asked. Domain summits do not sell tickets. The tickets that are put out there is just like a natural firewall to protect our community, and it works. So next year, till the dates are approved, we'll do that. But free tables are out there already. We still need to find the best possible dates. If you do suggest some dates that do not work for you, for example, this year we chose Ramadan. And my apologies to our Muslim guests, it is more difficult to attend events like these if you have to fast. So next year it will be before Ramadan. We will make sure that the dates are as good as possible. So yes, and tonight from 7 o'clock till 10, one floor below where we had lunch, on the balcony bar, there is a networking evening. It is totally self-paid. You can buy yourself Coca-Cola, wine, and continue talking business. And now this session concludes, and you can go to networking place, you can have some coffee, and see you tomorrow.
Not before I take my first selfie. Great stuff. Have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening. And thank you all for coming. impressively awesome crowd. Title? Gitau?